Hello, hello, hello. Can you guys hear me? Can you guys hear me? If you guys could actually hit one, if you guys could actually hear me here, I think we're good. How's everyone doing? Here, all right, good. Thanks, Daniel. Appreciate that. So this show, the broadcast is going to start at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, which is about 5 p.m. out in Mexico. Now, I tell you, I wasn't. It's kind of weird. I have myself in the background. That's not distracting whatsoever. So, guys, I was kind of going to ignore this whole topic. This Mexican alien, just because there's been a lot of potential evidence, right? It's going to be potential evidence that this was all BS. Now, I'm wrong. I said this earlier today. I hope I eat crow. I hope that I'm 100% wrong on everything here. Okay. And, um, and I would love these things to be ET, right? It would be amazing for these guys to be. One second. I'm good. Leave it on. It's on. It's good. So I'm totally good if these things are ETs. It'd be amazing if we're wrong about this. That'd be amazing, right? That all of a sudden, holy crap, there's proof of two alien bodies. So if you guys are trying to figure out what's going on, alrighty, Mr. Jaime Maussan, okay, which again, he is a pretty well-known journalist. I don't want to say respected because it goes back and forth, right? Some people love him. You have the guys that are 100% gung ho with Jaime Maussan. And then you have some folks that absolutely think he's the worst thing that could happen to the UFO movement. Okay. Look, at the end of the day, as long as you're talking about it, and as long as you're searching for truth, you could be Stephen Greer, Dr. Stephen Greer, or you could be Jaime Maussan, or you could be, pilot Ryan Graves, or you could be David Grush, or you could be so many of the different people out there that are pushing for some kind of disclosure, right? They want disclosure. We want disclosure. Wouldn't we want it to be that, if you're a believer of this, right, that this turns out to be something, real, right? And we want this to be something real, okay? So I'm going to put this screen back on, okay, just because I do want to show. We're just waiting for this to go live, and I will do my best to translate, okay, to translate what he's going to say. But what's interesting is, he was interviewed recently, by a Peruvian journalist, and he lost his marbles, right? He was basically, they were accusing him of being a liar, right? And again, I'm not accusing him of being a liar, but I'll say this thing: there's been more than a couple dozen different stories that he's pushed as truth that turned out not to be. Okay, again, I want to believe, right? Like my poster up on the wall says, I want to believe. I want it to be real. Okay. Is it going to be real? We don't know. I got to give Jaime Maussan credit that he's going to die on this hill, right? He's going to die on this hill. He is literally, in about 1 hour, okay, he's supposed to have these two little alleged alien bodies x-rayed live on camera, and they're supposed to show the evidence to the world, right? They're claiming that he's still claiming it's real. And again, if we happen to be wrong, if I happen to be wrong, because as of right now, I don't believe it's real. I've been wrong before, okay? Again, I want to be wrong, but believe it or not, I want to be wrong about this. I want to be wrong about this, being a hoax. I don't want it to be a hoax. I'm still leaning that it is a hoax. Okay. But he's going to die on the hill. He's about to He's about to, in less than about an hour and 5 minutes, he's going to go live and he's going to show the world the evidence, live x-rays. Okay. Yep. Live x-rays of the two bodies from Nazca. And a lot of this happened because even some of the folks that kind of took part of the whole, that took part of this, here, let me get the screen out for a minute, that actually took part of the like the DNA test, they came back and they said, hey, we were given, you know, the material for us to test, but we never had a clear chain of custody in regards to who was, you know, showing what, right? They never showed that specific thing, okay? And so they don't know where this DNA material came from, right? They are making the assumption that it came from over there, maybe. You know, I don't know. But once again, very clearly, they're saying they never had. Good morning, Aussies. Aussie. Oi, oi, oi. Hope things are good down under. Good morning. Make sure you get yourself some coffee, right? And get yourself some toast and a light spread of Vegemite over in Australia, okay? I think that's the way you guys do it, right? Just a little light skid of a little bit of butter and a little bit of Vegemite. All righty. So again, I'm hoping we're wrong. But so far, the people who even took part of this, and this is, I think, kind of the embarrassment, guys, for, you know, Jaime Maussan and the people involved, you know, is that Ryan Graves was literally up there. You heard him talk like just minutes before Jaime Maussan dropped the bombshell that they had those two little alien corpses, right? On quotation mark. Okay. Ryan Graves was talking about how important it is to make sure that air traffic controllers and pilots have a place to report what they see without being afraid of having any kind of issues. And again, 100%, it's exactly what needs to happen, because a lot of, you know, pilots are and air traffic controllers are afraid, not just American, you know, but across the world, they're afraid that someone's going to talk crap, right? That someone's going to talk crap. So that's exactly what Ryan Graves was talking about. He had no idea that they had rolled two alien corpses there and they were about to reveal it. And when they did, Ryan Graves got up and left, right? And the next day, you guys, I'm sure you guys heard this. The next day, he went as far as putting out a statement on Twitter and basically saying that, you know, that this was going to push back this movement, you know, and that he had no idea that he was going to take part of this spectacle. And he used the term spectacle. And that's unfortunate, because if this turns out to be a hoax, 100%, and I said this, you know, last week, that this reminds me a lot of the when Fox had that special with the alien autopsy, right? And give me 1 second, I got to get myself something to drink here, guys. And the alien autopsy video was complete garbage, right? We saw it, everyone was intrigued, and it was high production value, and they had a lot of, you know, fake you know, again, it was a movie of an alien autopsy. Well, we're all hoping. Now, this is what's crazy. Believe it or not, Jaime Maussan was not directly involved with that, but he was pushing that that alien autopsy video for a while, even after it was kind of debunked, right? Hey, Spirit, how you doing? Hope all is well. And you know, he continued to push that, and we'll go through the list. And I'm not going to do this. Today is not a day to let's shit on Jaime Maussan. Again, I think the dude's heart's in the right place. I believe that the guy truly believes in stuff, right? But I just think that, you know, if maybe he's too zealous, okay, almost like a religious point of view, right? And my thing is, my faith in UFO or alien, it can't be blind faith like it is in regards to how some people believe in God, right? Or anything like this. I'm a person that likes to believe in things that I could have some evidence on, right? And that's where I stand on this specific topic. And again, we're 1 hour, we're exactly 1 hour away when this. Now the question is, what do you think is going to happen, right? Again, guys, I'm 100% intrigued. I am 100% intrigued of what they're going to be showing, right? Is it going to be more BS? Okay. And there it is, guys. We're going to have it as soon as it goes live. We'll start sharing. Hopefully there's no restriction on the sharing on this thing. And if there is, then maybe we guys open up 2 windows and we'll watch it. Either way, we're gonna discuss what's being shown. I'm hoping to be able to translate into English what's going to be said, because I'm expecting all of this is going to be done in Spanish, right? But I'll tell you guys, Jaime Maussan for the last week, ever since they showed this footage a week ago, right? It's been a week because it was the 12th, right? The 12th of the month. Spirit, yes, here, that's a good one. She thought it was debunked. It was to a lot of people, it's debunked, and the main reason we're covering this is because, like I mentioned earlier, Jaime Maussan says it's real, and they're gonna X-ray these things live, and they're gonna kind of show the X-rays to the world based on what I read. Here, let me see if I could translate the little press release thing he sent out. Okay. He says that he's been able to identify the anatomy, the structure, the skin, like fat muscles, organs, oral cavities, his digestive tract. Okay. So again, like I said, he's going to die. Either he's going to die a hero or he's going to die a loser on this one, right? According to Jaime Maussan, these X-rays are also going to show the reproductive system, use tendons, ligaments, cartilage. I'm doing my best translating this thing from Spanish to English. It goes that everything that they're going to show today is going to show the authenticity of this. Okay. He's saying that this is going to show, okay, that this is another species. So again, I hope I'm wrong. I'm the first one to admit, if I have to eat crow, I'll eat crow, because and I'll send Jaime Maussan an apology. Okay, because I called him out and I said that, he's the worst thing that could happen to the UFO movement if this turns out to be false. Again, according to what I'm reading here, this X-ray is going to clearly show that this is a three-fingered creature, and 6 pairs of ribs, articulation. And then 2 types of like a pair of floating like a neck, okay, possibly one that retracts. Totally sounds totally sounds like like ET, right? Totally sounds like ET. I got ET here. I remember when ET's neck popped up and it scared the crap out of everyone. Yeah, interesting. So again, guys, we're about an hour, we're about 56 minutes before this goes live. And again, guys, I'm excited to see what's going to say. Now, for the folks who have been following the news, I don't know if you guys noticed, I'm going to keep on checking to see if there's anything recent. Okay. But here, let me open up another page. There was a F-35 stealth fighter that disappeared in here stateside in the United States. Okay. A fighter jet. Here, I'm going to, I don't mean to laugh because this is kind of crazy, but I'm going to go ahead. Everything, even the most recent thing, I'm looking at the New York Times, Wall Street Journal. Okay. But basically earlier today, a fighter pilot ejected out of his 80 million stealth fighter, okay, because of some kind of mishap. Kind of crazy, okay. This is what's crazy though. The F-35 did not crash. Somehow it was on autopilot and it continued flying. And the military, here, you know what? Here, I'm going to read this to you guys. I'm sure most of you guys have already read this, but if you guys haven't, here, I'll read it. Military searches near South Carolina lakes for fighter jet whose pilot safely ejected. Authorities searched near two South Carolina lakes on Monday for a military jet that apparently crashed after the pilot safely ejected over the weekend. The pilot, whose name hasn't been released, parachuted to safety into a North Charleston neighborhood at around 2 p.m. on Sunday. So my bad, this was yesterday. Okay. He was taken to a hospital where he's in stable condition. Blah, 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 blah. Corporal Christian Cortez, a Marine with the 2nd Marine Aircraft, said there was a mishap involving an F-35B Lightning jet, and the search was ongoing on Monday. Exactly what was happened under investigation. They're saying that based on the plane's location and trajectory, the search was focused on Lake Moultrie and Lake Marion. There's other reports saying, oh, yeah. So the interesting thing is that besides local law enforcement, like South Carolina law enforcement and so on, the military has asked for us civilians to see if we could track down this plane. I got to tell you, the internet has been golden. The memes have been unstoppable. Go on Twitter or X, whatever it's called now, and they're being brutal. It's it's kind of unfortunate, but it's kind of funny that the government's basically asking for us to help find a F-35 plane. Someone even went on, created like a fake Craigslist ad saying that they had found an F-35 and now they're selling it. Again, pretty funny. It is what it is. But yes, there's an F-35 pilot, jet, okay, that is missing. They don't know where it's at. Did it crash land? Well, if there's no pilot, it had to. But other reports are stating that, that it was on autopilot and it kept on basically flying straight, which is crazy. Now, it was an F-35 that was part of the Marine Corps. Now the Marines issue a stand-down order, okay? The Marine Corps on Monday issued a service-wide stand-down order for all aviation units inside and outside the country after the F-35B fighter jet disappeared over South Carolina. Marine Corps Acting Commandant General Eric Smith ordered the 2-day pause following 3 aviation mishaps over less than 2 months, including the disappearance of an F-35 jet on Sunday. I got to tell you guys, how in the heck do you misplace one? I mean, if it crashed, you should be able to track it. I swear to God, if the guy had an Apple tag, right, they should have been able to just open up an iPhone and find where it went. Like, where did it go? Again, kind of crazy, just kind of a kooky story. I'm glad no one died over this, right, because that would have been pretty interesting, okay? Now, guys, I'm also going to let you guys know I had set a time for later this evening, okay, that I was going to go live on at 8 o'clock p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and I was going to give you guys another story. And the story, I think the title that we put up had to do with, here, you know what? Let me read it because I'd rather not butcher the title of my own upcoming story that we were going to do, okay? But this one is, give me 1 second here, folks. I don't know what to do with it, but it's basically, we're going to talk about a topic that's a bit controversial, but nonetheless, it kind of circulates out there in the on the internet, especially in the UFO community, that that ties JFK, Marilyn Monroe, and UFOs. Okay, we're going to talk about that a little bit on how some people believe that, the death of both revolved around UFO disclosure, okay? And also about a certain CIA document that kind of talks about the last days of Marilyn Monroe and what she was threatening to do. Again, this is a bit controversial because some people believe it, some people don't, but I do have a copy of a 1962 CIA document that's discussing what Marilyn Monroe is threatening to do. So we're going to talk about that a little more. Yeah, Ozzy, awesome. Yeah, let me. We're definitely going to talk about that more. I'm going to do it literally right after whatever Jaime Maussan hits us with. I'm just going to go on and continue talking about the Marilyn Monroe JFK theory, the hypothesis that exists. Some people believe it. Dr. Stephen Greer was one of the guys that really has been pushing this theory, and might be interesting. Okay, it might be interesting, but I'll report it to you guys. And you guys tell me if you guys believe it or not, okay? But again, we're now about 50 minutes before Jaime Maussan either makes himself look like a total hero of the UFO world, right? Or he's going to be the biggest pariah in the UFO world if he's not able to back up his claim. And again, plane. I'm thinking about that F-35 that got lost. I got to give him credit because he's going to go live and he's claiming he's going to show us all the proof that these aliens somehow are real. Okay, so I said it and I'll say it again. I would love to eat crow. I would love to say I was wrong. I'll send Jaime Maussan a 6-pack or a 12-pack of Modelo if I happen to be wrong, okay? Because, if this turns out to be real, amazing. But just kind of going back to what was reported in regards to the UFO, yeah, Daniel, I agree here. I'm gonna share that one with everyone here because I agree with that. I want to believe 1,000%. I want to believe. But let's go back to remember what happened back again last week, Tuesday. Mexico held a congressional hearing, and kind of like Jaime Maussan kind of led the charge, and he had different people from around the world. He had 2 representatives of the United States, both ex-military, Ryan Graves, and he also had Robert Salas. Robert Salas was the commander who was charged of the nuclear silo over at Malmstrom Air Force Base. He was there as well. After Ryan Graves spoke, okay, he rolled out, they already had these 2 little boxes rolled out, and they showed us 2 little aliens. And I think all of us kind of freaked out, right? All of us were like, holy crap, I can't believe this is real. And I had to do a live reaction video because I was live with Lewis from Nerd Report, and Lewis had to cut short. So I literally just had my phone and I was giving you my live reaction, which was an honest reaction. I was like, oh, show me the bodies. Jaime Maussan said, here, hold my beer. And he showed us 2 bodies. After the excitement died down, people started doing the research. I did as well. And there is a documentary that covers these 2 bodies, which is a documentary that's currently on Gaia called Unearthing Nazca. Okay. And already from 2016, 2017, they've been showing these little alleged alien bodies around. Give me one second, folks. And I'll tell you, it was very, this documentary is very interesting because they were being pretty fair, I believe, talking about who was the one that found the bodies and who was the one that was selling. Okay. And who was the one that was selling these bodies that they found. Okay. And, it was a guy named Mario. There's a lot of, controversy to say the least. Okay. And I'll tell you, interesting. Okay. Because they kind of figured out that there was 2 bodies that were very questionable, right? These 2 bodies were also part of the find. But the guy who did sell, or who kind of supplied these bodies to Jaime Maussan, he's a bit of a pariah in Peru. So let's be very clear. This guy is a pariah in Peru. He's someone that doesn't use his real name because this guy is a grave robber, right? He literally goes and he's out going into caves, and he's desecrating tombs of Mayan people. And the belief by some is that like one of the bodies of a skeleton named Maria right? It's the one that had the really long fingers, okay? And those that one's kind of improvement that was false, right? It looked like basically they cut these two finger, like this finger and this finger off. They kind of cut through and they extended to make it look like fingers, and they plastered it and they did a bunch of weird stuff to it. And again, that was very unfortunate because you are desecrating, you know, you're desecrating someone's tomb, someone's grave, and you're also damaging, I believe, the heritage of Peru. And I believe anyone that has Mesoamerican ancestry should be very offended. Actually, the world should be offended if someone's been doing that to any mummies found. People would lose their minds, right? They would lose their minds if someone did this to some Egyptian mummies, right? Well, if this truly ends up being false, that's where I think the biggest issue is going to be, folks, is the fact that they've been desecrating human remains. And that's very unfortunate. Okay, so going back to this documentary, Unearthing Nazca, they covered it. They showed them. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I had seen this documentary because this documentary came out in 2020. There was like a short version, but there was like a big recap in 2020. And I remembered it. And yes, they were making claims back then that it looked like they were alien bodies, or better said, at least from a species not known to us before. And again, I want to be very clear, guys. I want this to be the case. I want this to be a new species. We didn't know that they're alien. That'd be amazing. As we start looking at the guys who are doing some of these testing, and a simple Google search would do it. Like if you're looking at the documentary and they mention a doctor, like there was a doctor from Southern California, right? Like a DNA guy. I Googled the guy, and then you find out that the guy's a little bit on the fringe side. And again, it's okay. I'm fringe too, right? And then the Russian guys from St. Petersburg, the same thing, a little on the kooky side. And that started giving me a lot of doubts. And then after this documentary came out, there was other people who had done research. Now, they didn't have the materials, nor have they had the bodies. Their research was done based on what they saw on these documentaries. And again, I want to be clear. I want to be wrong, right? Because I do want to believe. I want to believe, like Daniel's telling me here, right? I want to believe. I want this to be 100% true. But since then, right, there's been a lot of other people that have said, hey, I was the director for that documentary. And I talked about this last week, right? One of the director who was part of one of these documentaries said that, that they kind of kept they kept, moving forward, but they wanted truth. And they figured out that the two mummies, not these, because they didn't really get to go on these, but the other two mummies were 100% fraudulent. There were two hoaxes. Again, they haven't had access. These two bodies, these two small aliens, have been pretty kept close to the chest to the people who've controlled these bodies. So we don't know if anyone else besides this circle has done it. Now, one of the things, if you guys remember last week, and by the way, totally 100% disagree with the way NASA handled their press conference. There's a lot of, I still think there's a big cover up there. But one of the things that at least you give NASA somewhat credit to is like when they brought back like moon samples, right? Any scientific organization, right, where has access to that material so they could also do testing. Well, if Jaime Maussan, even after this, right, he's going to have to allow some university full access to these bodies. They need to go to the best university on the planet, to the best labs on the planet, so they could truly dig into these. Because if we end up finding out that this is a new species, okay, and by the way, let's say that they're not out of this world, that they're not extraterrestrial, okay, it's still a new species. It would still be absolutely for the anthropologists out and about. This would be huge, right? Because it's something new. It would be something totally new. So once again, that'd be amazing either way. But if we find out that this is a farce, that this is a hoax, then honestly, we cannot continue to give Jaime Maussan, um, we can't give him a stage anymore. Okay. Um, let's see. You know what? I agree with you here. This is a good point, Ozzy. I'm gonna share this right now. We know so little about earlier civilizations. I believe there have been many civilizations before us over time. You know what, guys? There's actually a really good documentary on Netflix. I don't know if it's available yet on and out in the land down under. Okay, but in the States here, there's one called Ancient Apocalypse, right? And that's a very good documentary. And it kind of gives us the hypothesis that basically there's been multiple different civilizations, and that we kind of have like a collective amnesia, right? As a species, right? As a species, we have um, collective amnesia, that we forget what was, was Atlantis real? Maybe we just kind of forgotten about it, and there's a little bit of information spread out there, right? And uh, so many things that we have found have proven it. Daniel's telling us. Listen, I agree. There has to be something, right? Because I'm sure you guys know that if we're to believe um, our history, kind of like our written history, it's approximately, especially for us on the Western civilization, we kind of base our history on Bible history, right? So it puts us about 6,000 years, right? So Jesus, the story of Jesus was 2,000 years ago. The story of Moses was what 4,000 years ago, whatever it might have been. Yeah, that's been on Netflix here. Yeah, that's a great show. The Sumerian tablets. Yeah, guys, there's a lot of good stuff out there. So the interesting thing is, our history that we kind of base our stuff. It's about 6,000, years old. But when we start looking at archaeological finds, whether it's the pyramids, whether it's other texts that have been popping up, and we realize, guys, we've been around longer than 6,000 years. It kind of changes. It changes our knowing of our own civilization. And again, I want to be very clear. I'm not trying to go out there and say I want to poo-poo on religion and I want to crap on your faith or anything like that. That's not the point at all, right, guys? That's not the point. But we want the truth, right? So, if what we've been told, for the last however thousands of years is wrong, we should find out. And I can't remember what I was reading recently or I was watching. It's all kind of been a blur. It's the old age, guys. It's the old age. Our civilization is just getting started or restarted. Daniel, that's a good point as well. Okay. But reading this, watching this show, or maybe it was, the truth is I can't give anyone credit, but it's not my thought, but it's a very good thought, that said the Library of Alexandria, right? It was known to be like the biggest repository of knowledge on the planet, and it burned, right? And the question is, what was there, right? What knowledge was there? What was written there that we have completely lost track of, because there hasn't been a library like that ever since. And yet we went ahead and lost everything. We lost all that wealth of knowledge that was at the Library of Alexandria. So, what could we know today? I got to share this. Ozzy, some of my earliest memories were I've seen a world in my mind where giants live. I was a little too, I've learned it from anywhere. I often wonder if it was memories. There's people who believe kind of like that whole Assassin's Creed thing, right? That our DNA kind of keeps some of our memories, right? And who knows? Again, we're still learning. Only 10% of our brains being used, and the big question is, what else? If we had full capacity to our brain, what could be? What else could we remember or create? Right? Yeah, it was Ozzy. I agree that the loss of the Library of Alexandria was a huge loss to humanity, because what was there? I truly believe that a lot of the secrets, right, that we had back then. Well, I don't even think they were secrets. I just think that it was knowledge. Unfortunately, the majority of the world was somewhat illiterate, right? Everything that was kind of told, and I don't mean that in a bad way. I'm not calling people illiterate by being mean, but I'm just saying the people from the ancient world were literate. They passed stories verbally, not a lot of times not written, right? And then it was important for the historians to write what they did. But if there was only a certain amount of books, you know, and a lot of them got lost, especially here, let me just read this. If the Devil's Tower is a petrified tree slump, that's a good question. I'm planning on going to the Devil's Tower. I've been wanting to go there. Here, I got to show this one so we know what we're talking about. I don't know if it's a petrified tree, but I definitely want to go out there. It's definitely insane. But again, very clear. There's a lot of stuff that we don't know because we have lost. We do have, and I agree with with the ancient apocalypse host, and for his name will come, Graham Norton. I think it was no, it's not Graham Norton. Hold on, I got to remember his name right now. Give me 1 second. Ancient apocalypse, and the director, or the hold on a second. Give me 1 second, folks. Graham Hancock, right? I agree with Graham Hancock that we do have, as a society, we have a collective amnesia. We forget. Heck, the truth is, guys, even sometimes we forget what happened. If it wasn't for history, if it wasn't for the fact that there's a book written, we wouldn't remember most of the stuff. A couple days ago, I posted the story, or I kind of talked to you guys about the story about the Texas Aurora UFO crash, right? And that one was something that, if it wasn't for the fact that someone found an old newspaper clipping and started kind of questioning, no one would talk about the Aurora airship crash, right? And out of sight, out of mind. I agree with you, Daniel. Okay, and also the folks from Roswell. Okay, Roswell happened in 1947, and then the government said, you know what, BS, it's not real. Okay, and we forgot about it for a while. It wasn't until back, like, I think I might be wrong, but maybe like the late 70s or early 80s, where the whole Roswell thing came back up, right? But for 20, 30 years, we didn't talk about it. And now imagine if we didn't have newspaper clippings. So let's go back 1,000 years. What other things have we lost to history because it was never documented? Okay, so, and I talked about this last time too, and a lot of this, that's why, if you remember Bill Nelson last week, for you folks that were watching the UAP thing on NASA, right? He was like, we're not interested about the stories of, oh, my grandfather saw this, or my uncle saw this, or whatever the hell he said, right? Well, my thing is, I am kind of interested because we should be documenting this, right? We should be documented, and maybe we don't get the answers to this stuff, but maybe 50 years from now or 100 years from now, hopefully before then. Listen, I really hope that in my lifetime we figure out what the heck's going on with this whole UAP, UFO, alien phenomena, right? We need to, guys. We need to. All right, guys, again, we're 30 minutes away. If you guys have just joined us, we're 30 minutes away from the live presentation that Jaime Maussan will be doing on, live in Mexico. And my hope is to be able to translate everything word for word of what's being said. Okay. And again, for you folks that have just joined us, I just want to kind of state once again what he is saying. So I want to be very clear. I'm going in there open-minded. I know that a couple of days ago, I was calling him the biggest fraudster and the whole thing. You know what? If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But once again, what he is claiming, that he's been able to identify the anatomy, the structure, the muscle tissue, the skin, organs, oral cavity, his digestive tract of these two little aliens. Again, we're waiting to see, because they're supposed to be doing a live X-ray presentation. They're able to. He's able to also pinpoint the reproductive system, ligaments, cartilage, his neck. So again, he's claiming a lot, and he says he's going to prove it to us. He's going to prove it to us. We're 30 minutes away from him proving this to us. And once again, I truly hope to God I am wrong. I hope I am 1,000% wrong of what I said earlier in the week. So we're 30 minutes away from this live presentation of Jaime Maussan giving us the analysis, X-ray analysis of the two bodies that were discovered in Peru. Okay, but going back to this, guys, the Peru folks, they've been mad. They've been mad. They believe that he is disrespecting, and to a certain extent, guys, we kind of have to agree, right? If in Israel you go on an archaeological dig and you pull bodies, heck, you could pull a cup out. You could literally go to prison for this, right? You're not supposed to disturb archaeological sites. You're not supposed to do that in Egypt either. Okay. The world would look at you totally wrong. My thing is, to a certain extent, we're kind of have allowed what happens in American artifacts to be passed around. No one's crapping over the guy who found these bodies. He is a grave robber. Now, if he happens to have robbed a couple graves that had a couple aliens, so be it, and cool and awesome. Okay. My thing is, I want to see. I want the truth. Okay. I want the truth. I want to see what they show. Okay. And at the same time, we kind of have to respect, it's like in the United States, right? If you're doing an archaeological dig, if you're doing construction and you're near an area that was heavily populated by Native Americans, and we find something that could be like the remains of like Native Americans, we literally got to stop. You can't continue, because part of it's respect and part of it's archaeology, because we should be sending a couple archaeologists to truly properly remove these bodies. And at the same time, folks, a clear chain of custody. And I think this is the biggest argument that people are having, guys. The argument is that there's no clear chain of custody of where these bodies came from. So that's the problem that a lot of ufologists and a lot of just people have, is that where did these bodies go? Where were they for the last 5 years? What's been done to them? And again, I'm hoping, Daniel, hold on. This is interesting. I found a piece of ceramic in the foundation when we were digging, and the boss said, drop it back down and keep digging. Yeah. That's not the way it's supposed to happen, right? If we're digging out somewhere and it's an area that might have Native American, like a burial grounds, right? You're literally supposed to stop and not continue digging. So that's what's supposed to be happening. Okay. If it doesn't happen, at least that's not what's supposed to officially happen. All righty, guys. All right, let me see what else is being said here, guys. Yep, you're right. He said it would shut him down if they reported it. Okay. Again, we're 30 minutes or 25 minutes away. What is Jaime Maussan going to tell us? So I'm curious, folks, what do you think they're going to show us? What do you think they're going to show us? And folks, please, I would appreciate if you guys could maybe share. I've been building this. I started building this channel up literally in the last couple weeks. I've been mainly kind of, occasionally helping, either going on Nerd Report or doing some of the stuff on their entertainment channel on Nuke the Fridge. But I if you guys could kind of, spread the word out there and kind of tell people to help subscribe, or maybe, if you like what you guys are hearing and seeing, We would totally like your support in just getting our name out there and making sure that we're covering as much as possible. We would appreciate everything you guys do. Again, we are literally 25 minutes away. So make sure you guys have something to drink because, listen, if one thing's for certain, we're going to have a show, right? We are going to have a show, right? Whether it's real or not, I'll give you a shout out on my community page. Thanks, Ozzy. I appreciate it. What time is it out in Australia? I know you guys are in the future, so tell me what happened. Okay. And again, reminder that after we cover the Jaime Maussan press conference and X-ray, we will be digging into the Marilyn Monroe, JFK, the theory that they were killed, okay, because of UFO disclosure. I was going to do this tonight at 8 o'clock, but once Jaime Maussan announced this, I figured that I would just roll through and cover everything at the same time. But for you folks that are kind of wondering what I'm talking about, okay, listen, there's a big belief that the assassination of JFK and the alleged overdose of Marilyn Monroe, okay, was tied directly to the potential of Marilyn Monroe going public, what she knew about aliens and Roswell and stuff like that. Okay. There is a CIA document that's out there, but I'm going to show it to you guys. I have it here on screen. Okay. It's again, very interesting. Because here, I'm just going to show it real quickly. Okay. All right, that's the documentary, okay? And not the documentary, that's the document, the CIA document. And we're kind of going to go through it a little bit. It's very interesting. Here, I will even tell you this much, so just kind of whet your appetite a little bit, okay? If they make bicycles fly, anything, okay? Hold on a second. I got to share this one here. All righty. So, in regards to Marilyn Monroe, the belief is that she, how she was pissed off about. It's not a secret. Her and JFK were having an affair. Okay. Her and Bobby Kennedy, okay, ended up also having an affair. Man, I'll tell you, those Kennedy brothers, right? They shared everything, and they also included sharing, their women, unfortunately. And the story is that Marilyn Monroe, there was a lot of pillow talk with JFK, and that he revealed certain things. Okay, and that's what we're going to talk about because it's interesting if we look at the timing of when all this happened. People died pretty quickly. Okay. And I don't trust the CIA, right? I don't think none of us should. But very interesting, that if this CIA document turns out to be real and the people who were the ones who found it swore up and down for this document is the real deal, right? It's a real document that talks about what Marilyn Monroe was talking about. So again, very interesting, very interesting. Again, guys, we're about 20 minutes away from the live press conference that Jaime Maussan will be having, where we're going to talk about, again, it's almost like Alien Autopsy 2.0, right? I'm just not Jonathan Frakes. Remember, Jonathan Frakes was the host for that show? I have a bad feeling it's going to be more like Geraldo Rivera opening Al Capone's safe. Remember, he didn't find anything? Once again, I hope 1,000% that I'm wrong. I'm looking forward to be proven wrong, right? I'm looking forward to be proven wrong. I don't want to be right. I want to be wrong. I want these guys to be little aliens And, if it happens to be proven, so be it, But again, do me a favor, guys. Uh, one, if you believe that they're going to prove something, or two, if you believe that Jaime Maussan is just a publicity whore and he's trying to save his skin. Let me know what you guys think. I'm just curious. Okay. But we're about 20 minutes away, and it should be interesting. It should be interesting. All righty. So again, don't forget, please, after this, we're just going to roll right into the Marilyn Monroe JFK assassination theory. Okay. And again, if you guys, again, this is kind of like we were talking about, like the, knowing history, right? I know a lot of times people kind of like, oh yeah, JFK got assassinated, but they don't know that it's okay. Listen, go research all the theories. Go watch Oliver Stone's movies. Go watch all the documentaries. But the last thing that we could do, okay, would be to bury our head and think that our government doesn't do inappropriate things, right? It happens all the time. It happens all the time. Here, that'll be the best happy birthday document from Marilyn Monroe to everyone. Yeah. And I tell you guys, I have mixed feelings about Marilyn Monroe, and what I mean by that is she's absolutely beautiful, and she was groundbreaking, and she was definitely iconic and a sex symbol in the whole thing. But sometimes we forget that on the other side there was a couple children. There was also JFK's wife, Jackie O, that had to go through all this, and that's very, very unfortunate of the crap that JFK put Jackie Kennedy through, right? Because that was that was kind of like, again, I wasn't alive, obviously, at that time. I'm not that old. I feel that old, but I wasn't that old. They called it Camelot for a reason. We were bringing in a young president, a very, the first lady was absolutely beautiful. The children, it looked like Camelot. It's exactly what we hope for as a country, regardless if you're a Republican or a Democrat. The day that JFK was assassinated, it didn't make a difference who you were, right? Everyone mourned. And it's very unfortunate. So now the big theory is, right? Now the big theory is, why was he assassinated, right? There was always theories that, oh, it's because of what was going on in Cuba or this or that. Well, there's one theory that kind of ties into our community, and it is that had to do with UFOs. And we will definitely be talking about that after, after the Jaime Maussan. We are 18 minutes away. Please, folks, once again, and Ozzy, I agree with you. A cruel thing for a wife to be so publicly humiliated. If you guys don't remember, you guys can look it up on YouTube. And by the way, Ana de Armas did a pretty fine job playing Marilyn Monroe. But the fact that, like, in front of Jackie, we had Marilyn Monroe singing that very sexual "Happy Birthday to You" song. It was, I mean, like, wow, wow. And again, not saying that he deserved. It's horrible, right? It was horrible that it was what Jackie Kennedy was put through was just sad, right? And then afterwards, Bobby Kennedy dying, and that, again, guys, this is kind of ties it all in, because the big question is, if this turns out to be true. Give me a second. I gotta get comfy here on my chair. If this turns out to be true, did JFK, all right, if JFK gets assassinated, Marilyn Monroe gets assassinated, Bobby Kennedy gets assassinated, what did this all have to do with disclosure? What we really should do, how RFK Jr. is running for president here in the States, maybe someone should try to ask Robert Kennedy Jr., okay? Yeah, absolutely, Aaron. Yeah, that's one family. And then we take a look at JFK Jr., right? Remember JFK Jr. was an editor of a big magazine, right? What was it called? George, right? And then somehow his plane also kind of crashed. I'm telling you, if there's one family that has been just completely, I don't want to say cursed, but it sure does feel cursed, right? Is that Kennedy family. It's just very, very unfortunate. And then I don't know if you guys have been following the news. Robert Kennedy Jr. was here in LA doing one of his political rallies here in Los Angeles in a theater in Wilshire. Okay. And this is what was very crazy. There was a guy dressed as like a federal officer, okay, badges and the whole thing, and he was armed, and he wasn't. He was basically trying to get in this. If you guys haven't heard the story, I'm not going to get into it too much into it, but look into it. It's very upsetting that there was an assassination scare just like 2 or 3 days ago for Robert Kennedy Jr. It's interesting because Robert Kennedy Jr. has been asking for Secret Service protection, right? And if there's one name that needs, I think, and listen, without getting political at all, because he's a Kennedy. I'd give the guy, right? I would give the guy Secret Service protection ASAP. Okay. But yeah, very interesting because of the amount of death. Again, everyone dies, but the amount of death that's been around, right? The Kennedy clan. It's very unfortunate. Guys, we're 14 minutes away from the Jaime Maussan. Let's see what they're going to tell us. I'm curious. Again, like I said, guys, I hope I'm 100% wrong. Thank you, Ozzy. I do appreciate that. Like I said, we're trying to build this, and we want you guys to be part of that foundation. And I do appreciate you guys spending a little bit of time. It's funny. I work a lot of hours a week. Today happened to be one of my days off, and I have friends saying, "Robert, you work so many hours. Why do you want to spend any time doing anything on the here on the podcasting or live streaming, whatever it is?" Part of it is a little bit of therapy. All right. Sometimes you just gotta, I have so many thoughts in my head, and sometimes I need to ramble on instead of rambling on to my children or my wife. I'm just gonna ramble to you guys, right? So I appreciate you guys. Before I try to edit, once again, I do appreciate that, Daniel and Ozzy. I appreciate you guys supporting the channel and giving you guys, here, hold on a second. Let me share this as well. Yeah, so like I said, part of this is a bit of therapy for me because sometimes I go to bed at night and I have so many things in my head, and this is kind of an outlet for me, right? Yeah, I'm going to ramble away, Jalissa. Absolutely. Thank you. So again, we're about 10 minutes away. I'm actually a little bit intrigued. I don't want to say excited. I'm intrigued because either I'm going to be like completely like, wow, awesome, right? Or damn you, Jaime Maussan. Okay. All righty. And then listen, I'm curious. I'm going to start polling you guys here in the future, but I am kind of interested in knowing what you guys are interested in hearing. Okay. Obviously, we've been covering that UFO topic, and we will continue to cover the UFO topic because this is something that I believe in. And I don't know if you guys remember one of the live streams that I had with Lewis on Nerd Report. Okay. I saw something a couple years ago, right? On my way to Puerto Rico, I did see something. I agree, Daniel. Thank you. I did see something, and I was always a believer, and I always love watching my alien UFO movies and stuff. But I saw something, and it stayed in the back of my head. My wife knew what I saw because I was kind of freaked out for a moment. But literally, by the time we got back, life goes on, and you just move forward, and then you start hearing about other people seeing things, and you're like, wow, that's exactly what I saw, right? That's exactly what I saw. And it makes you question. So my thing is, I want to talk because I want to hear from you guys. I want to see which you guys want to, want to talk to. If you guys have experienced anything, you guys can message me directly. Again, guys, we're about 10 minutes away from the Jaime Maussan. He's supposed to reveal it all, right? He's supposed to reveal it all and tell us where these little guys are coming from. That's a very good point. And by the way, how are things out in England with the new king? Righty, how are things with King Charles? Here in the States, I hate to say, to our, cousins across the pond, for the most part, we really don't care. But, it's interesting. I respect the monarchy. I do have a friend that lives out in the UK, and she comes out to California about once a year. There's a big country concert that happens out in Southern California in an area near Palm Springs. It's called Stagecoach. And this lady is a huge country fan. And literally, she comes out here to watch a music festival. And she kind of tells me, and I don't know if this is disrespectful, and if it is, I apologize ahead of time. She says that the monarchy, back then the queen, now the king, it's a little bit like Mickey and Minnie Mouse, right? It's for the tourist, right? They have it because it's something to offer the people to come and cover the UK. But my thing is, again, I respect it. Okay. I respect the monarchy. I think that it's, I hope King Charles is a good king, and whoever ends up, succeeding him ends up being a good king or queen. We all need good leaders, but isn't it just kind of like a figurehead, right? I'm interested. Daniel, you need if you have that video, send it to me. I don't know if you guys were there when I shared a video on Nerd Report where someone from 29 Palms sent me this video, and it's kind of very similar. Where maybe after this I'll share it again, or maybe we'll do it on Wednesday. We're going to go live again on Wednesday. And for you guys who haven't seen my interview that we did with Sergeant Nicholas Longacre, he was one of the Marines that witnessed the UAP at 29 Palms. Take a look at it. I think it's an interesting video, because I know a lot of people believe that case was closed, that there was nothing else, that it was flares, and that the folks, that George Knapp and that Jeremy Corbell were wrong, right? Well, this Marine says otherwise. It's on the YouTube channel. If you guys want to take a look at it, go ahead. It's a good interview. We have a long version of that interview that we'll probably be posting. It's an unedited video that I'm going to put up, so you could hear everything else that also we spoke about. Okay. But we're going to continue to do more of these interviews too. I just had to share that with you there. It's interesting, Ozzy, because, like during the pandemic, we saw a lot of power that was given to the government, and it was surprising, the stuff that was happening in Canada and the stuff that was happening in Australia. It's kind of scary. I wouldn't want any more power, I don't want to have, I don't want, yeah, I agree. Here in the States, it's supposed to be, they're supposed to answer to us. And I think this is where the whole UFO issue happens, is that, they don't trust their own people. Right. And I think that we need to demand. And by the way, on Wednesday, I'm going to give you guys another story. I'm not going to tell you which one it is, but I'm also going to talk to you guys about how Tim Burchett, the senator from Tennessee, he is pushing for disclosure, and I think he's one of the few ones out that truly is trying to get to the bottom of what's been going on. I'm gonna actually, we're about 5 minutes away. Give me a second here. I'm gonna read something that I saved that Tim Burchett said, and this is interesting, guys, because I don't care what political spectrum. I don't care if it's a Democrat or Republicans who set this. Good for them, because it's interesting. I don't care what political party they're from, especially what has to do with this topic. Okay, but here, give me 1 second here. Just bear with me 1 second here, because it was a very interesting thing that he said. Let me see if I find it. Well, basically, Tim Burchett, just like yesterday, said that if he reveals what he knows, it just basically opens it completely up, right? But some of our senators are sworn to secrecy and they can't reveal it, okay? And he's basically saying that if he could just reveal what he knows, it would be completely, it would change our point of view of the world. Okay, so I'm actually going to post all that information for you guys on Wednesday. We'll talk about it. I think it's very interesting, and we're about 5 minutes away. But I'm also going to share something with you that I did purposely bookmark here for you, because for you, I don't know if you guys know this, but President Carter here from the United States, he's in hospice. He is like he's almost gone. He's almost left us. And regardless what you think about President Carter as a president, okay, he might have been, listen, history says that he was a weak president. Post-presidency, he's been a phenomenal human being. He's done so much for the country and his time, and he's dedicated himself to try to better, right? And again, we're not talking about the political aspects. We're talking about the stuff that he was doing, whether it's Habitat for Humanity and stuff like that. Isn't Carter like 100? Yeah, he's old, okay? But it's interesting what's being said here. I'm just going to read this. If they go live, I'm going to go ahead and just stop talking and we'll listen to what they're saying, okay? The incident, there's a report that President Carter, okay, cried after being briefed about classified information regarding UFO, that they believe this to be true. As a forewarning, the following information is very unsettling and will explain why Carter never kept his promise on revealing classified UFO information to the public. Okay. According to the story that was corroborated by more than one witness, U.S. presidents are only given a cursory overview on the subject. Apparently, the CIA runs the program, only provides information to the president on a need-to-know basis, and do not consider presidential curiosity as a sufficient need to know. This was implemented after Kennedy, and all the presidents after him have been given only a summary briefing. Some presidents, for unknown reasons, were given more than others. And I think part of that reason has been because George H.W. Bush, he was the head of the CIA, so he would know, right? He's most likely give W more information because it was his kid, okay? Okay, on to your question. President Carter is a deeply religious man who also witnessed a UFO with 6 other people. Everybody thought that he could be one to finally release UFO info to the public, okay? But as the story goes, he was reportedly stonewalled. Eventually, the CIA had to talk with him, and afterward, it was reported that he sunk his head in his hands and not only began to deeply sob, but was visibly disturbed for some weeks afterwards. What was he told? He was told that the major religions, including Christianity, were programs created by extraterrestrials to prevent us from destroying ourselves while they ran experiments on us, and that they made us. And at this moment, it became clear to Carter that such information could cause tremendous economic and social upheaval. It should add that I am, this is the guy who wrote this, that I'm not only a Christian, but a clergyman, so I'm in no way attempting to promote atheism here. In fact, how God fits into this might be an interesting separate post. Nevertheless, these are the facts as I know them to be. And I'll give you guys more information on that come Wednesday. And this kind of goes with the story. And the same thing happened when someone was briefed on Reagan's presidency, right? Other politicians, and we're hearing the same thing. And it's funny because Tom DeLonge, right, from To the Stars Academy, remember he's the guy that was working with Chris Mellon and Louis Elizondo. Yes, Tom DeLonge for Blink-182. You guys know about that. He's also said similar on his research. This We're about to go live. We're about to go live. Okay. We're about to go live, folks. What's going to be said? Get some popcorn, pretzels. Yep, we're minutes. We're seconds away. We're seconds away. It's 4 o'clock. Let's see what is said. And please, guys, make sure right away that if you're not hearing it, once you guys see any footage on there, make sure to say something in the comments. All right, I just want to make sure that this goes as smoothly as possible. And again, for the folks that are just joining us, after we're done with this, we will automatically go into the story that I was going to tell you guys about in regards to JFK, Marilyn Monroe, UFOs and aliens, and how that could have led to their deaths. Okay, so we will be talking about that here story as well. Alrighty, so I know that we got some folks from Australia, we got some folks from the UK. Why don't you guys tell me where you guys are from? Obviously, I'm from home base right now is Los Angeles, California. Today was about 80 degrees. Let you guys know that I was supposed to go to Disneyland today. I was supposed to be there for a few hours and go visit Galaxy's Edge, which is basically Star Wars land, and do some stuff. I'm breaking. Okay, I hear you, Daniel. Am I speaking too loud? Let me see if we can fix something here. Alrighty, we're getting close. We're getting close. We should be. What's your PC? Cincinnati, Ohio. Go to vacation. Kristen is a true. It's always let me check and see if we're having any other video issues here. Alrighty, did the audio change once we're getting close to go live? 1 second.
Sí, me...
Give me a second, guys. I'm gonna try. Oh, here we go.
¿Qué tal, amigos? Bienvenidos a esta transmisión especial en Maussan TV.
I can't
Soy
hear
Fernando
anything on their
Correa,
side.
periodista científico, y voy a tener el placer, el gusto y el honor de compartir una transmisión histórica
Audio.
en la cual por primera vez se va a transmitir en vivo y en directo para todo el planeta el análisis científico con instrumentos de alta tecnología de uno de los especímenes desecados de las llamadas momias de Nazca. Estos especímenes que realmente rebasan todo lo que hemos visto antes y por ello se ha creado una gran susceptibilidad a pensar lógicamente que no son reales. Sin embargo, las investigaciones que se han realizado desde abril del año 2017 nos permiten entender que estamos ante algo que no hemos visto antes en nuestro planeta. No sabemos qué es, no sabemos su origen exacto, lo que sí sabemos es son ningún tipo de mono, de chimpancé o de simio, es algo verdaderamente diferente. También sabemos que son reptiles porque ponen huevos, su gestación y los análisis de los instrumentos científicos. Ahora sí que esto no lo dice alguna persona, esto lo dicen los instrumentos científicos, que ponen huevos, por lo tanto, vendrían a entrar a la categoría de reptiles humanoides. Podríamos agregar que son reptiles humanoides inteligentes, puesto que tienen implantes de metal por dentro del cuerpo. También es un verdadero misterio qué son esos implantes, para qué los utilizaban, de qué les servía. Sin embargo, lo que es un hecho objetivo y directo es que los metales están ahí en algunos de estos especímenes, como los que ya están en la Universidad San Luis Gonzaga en Ica, allá en el Perú, donde se encuentra la momia Luisa, la momia Josefina y la momia Victoria, entre otras. Hoy vamos a analizar al espécimen llamado la momia Clara. Deseo especificar y establecer que no es una momia natural en los términos de que haya sido eviscerada, que le sacaron los órganos, no. Está desecada. Entiéndalo usted muy bien. No dije disecada, dije desecada. Es una desecación natural en base a polvos de tierra diatomea, algas microscópicas fosilizadas, y para todos estos detalles, que en eso consiste una investigación a profundidad, se encuentra conmigo todo un equipo de expertos, cada uno en su ramo, empezando con el doctor José de Jesús Salce Benítez. ¿Qué tal, doctor?
Muy buenas tardes, Fernando. Muy agradecido de esta invitación y de tener esta oportunidad histórica de poder transmitir en vivo los análisis de imagen que se le van a practicar a este cuerpo.
También se encuentra con nosotros para dar fe de los hechos un notario público, para que quede también en todos los términos de la legalidad que lo que aquí y ahora usted va a presenciar es completamente real, es completamente legítimo. Me voy a permitir preguntarle al licenciado que él mismo nos diga su nombre y su cargo. Gracias, licenciado, bienvenido.
Gracias, buenas tardes. Soy Carlos Mesa, soy titular de la Notaría 35 del Estado de México. Mucho gusto.
Vamos a dar fe de los hechos, ¿es correcto? ¿Fe de los hechos de lo que aquí se lleva a cabo?
Efectivamente, fui requerido para dar fe de hechos de lo que va a suceder en este momento.
Extraordinario, licenciado, muy bienvenido nuevamente. Se encuentra también conmigo Guillermo, quien es un especialista de esta que es una de las clínicas más importantes de México, que tiene algunos de los laboratorios más modernos con equipos de alta tecnología. Su nombre y su cargo, por favor.
¿Qué tal? Buenas tardes. Guillermo, soy técnico radiólogo de aquí de la clínica. Para dar el inicio de estos estudios, contamos con este equipo, es un Toshiba Aquilion de 64 cortes. Es de alta fidelidad en imagen y con vamos a iniciar los estudios correspondientes.
Extraordinario. ¿Qué es, para los que no estamos muy familiarizados con estos temas, qué es exactamente lo que hace este equipo?
Pues mire, son varias estructuras de imagen, son imágenes multiplanares y al momento de su reconstrucción nos permite hacer una reconstrucción 3D y nos permite analizar el interior de cualquier objeto.
Real quickly, guys, I'm just going to pause for a second. They're just explaining how they're going to, do their X-rays and build a 3D picture of what they are seeing. Okay.
En este caso, Guillermo, te quiero compartir en base a lo que ya he aprendido, que se trata de un cuerpo, de un espécimen, ¿sí? Bueno, pues podemos dar inicio entonces. En este caso, Guillermo, te quiero compartir en base a lo que ya he aprendido, que se trata de un cuerpo, de un espécimen, ¿sí? Bueno, pues podemos dar inicio entonces a esta transmisión. Nuevamente le doy la bienvenida a usted que recién se integra. verdaderamente emocionados, entusiasmados en el hecho de que vamos a estar aquí con esta situación. Y bueno, vamos a presentar también a otros especialistas que están con nosotros. ¿Sí? A ver, déjenme ir con ellos. Pasen, por favor. Yo quiero presentarlos. Van a estar del otro lado de esta zona donde tenemos que usar este tipo de equipos, trajes blindados, de plomo, etcétera, y que sean los doctores, los especialistas, quienes ellos mismos se presenten. Su nombre y su cargo, por favor.
Soy el doctor Rubén García Linaje, yo soy cirujano ortopedista, me especializo en cirugía articular y mi intención es valorar el día de hoy las partes óseas, las extremidades, toda la cuestión articular para poder ver de qué se trata.
That guy who's talking right now saying that he's an orthopedic surgeon and he's there just to talk about what he sees and so on.
Con un equipo como este es posible determinar si se trata de un cuerpo en una suposición, en una especulación, para aclarar al público, a los amigos, a los científicos, a los académicos que vean esto. ¿Se puede determinar si es armado con distintas partes, algo así?
Este tipo de equipos, la tomografía, como ya comentamos, se puede hacer una reconstrucción de todas las partes óseas. Específicamente es para ver la cuestión ósea. Determinar, asegurar, no sé, ahorita lo veremos, pero sin duda alguna podemos determinar si eso es un hueso, y eso claro que se va a poder ver aquí.
This guy asked him if there is that with what they're about to do, are they going to be able to prove that this wasn't like multiple bones to create a mummy? And the doctor replied saying that he will be able to tell you that if it's bone or not. He wasn't very clear. Let's see what he says again.
Muchas gracias. Bienvenido nuevamente. Su nombre y su cargo, por favor.
Soy el doctor Armando González Ballesteros. Mi especialidad es radiología. Bueno, yo soy el experto en interpretar los estudios de tomografía, como en el equipo que tenemos aquí enfrente. Y pues vaya, pues lo que nos va a aportar este estudio es en qué consiste el tejido, ¿no? Tanto de afuera como de adentro. Ver las congruencias articulares, ¿no? Realmente verificar si si fue armado o no fue armado, o si es algo, pues, prácticamente en su naturaleza, ¿no? Es lo que podemos aportar, ¿no? Entonces,
and this doctor is saying that he will be able to tell you that if all these bones, if these bodies are supposed to be the way they are. So again, let's see.
Entonces, pues, vamos a ver qué es lo que encontramos.
Me parece muy bien. Bueno, como usted seguramente sabe, el licenciado Jaime Maussan se encuentra de viaje en los Estados Unidos, por lo cual me ha pedido que lo auxilie, lo ayude con esta transmisión especial, y estoy entusiasmado de poder ver nuevamente con instrumentos científicos de alta tecnología ante qué estamos. De manera que
Jaime Maussan is not there, so they have this other guy covering for him because Jaime Maussan is currently in the United States.
Quisiera preguntar si ya pasamos directamente al cuerpo. Vamos a pasar directamente al cuerpo, por favor, para que usted se vaya dando cuenta de lo que se trata. Muchas gracias, doctores, gracias. Ponga usted mucha atención, por favor. Ahí lo tenemos. Este espécimen se llama Clara. Fue encontrado en las mismas cuevas de polvo de diatomea. Yo le repito que la diatomea es una alga fosilizada de aproximadamente 13 a 17 millones de años, cuando el desierto de Nazca y de Palpa del Perú era el fondo del océano. Este polvo de
I gotta say, guys, this still looks like something that was built with paper mache. This is okay. Let's see.
Diatomea, nos lo van a poder describir a detalle. Tenemos reportajes, investigaciones. Actúa como una especie de protección contra los hongos, contra las bacterias, contra los insectos, y ello ha generado que la diatomita, como también se le llama el polvo de diatomea, se haya encargado de preservar perfectamente a esos especímenes que tienen 1000 años de antigüedad. ¿Sí? A ver, adelante entonces. Va a empezar el análisis. El notario público está con nosotros dando testimonio y fe de todo lo que se está llevando a cabo. Del otro lado de las pantallas se encuentran los especialistas en radiología, los médicos. Y este es el momento ideal para recordarle a usted que estos cuerpos no se pueden investigar a distancia. Estos especímenes no se pueden explicar armando modelos o armando algo por otro lado. Estos cuerpos que son orgánicos y antiguos y completamente diferentes a todo lo que hemos visto, merecen y deben ser estudiados, investigados de una manera objetiva. Es decir,
he's basically, real quickly, saying that they need to be studied firsthand. It can't be done remotely, that they have to be done in person, and that we owe it to we owe it to ourselves to study the biology of what's being shown here.
Directamente. ¿Algún comentario, doctor José de Jesús Salce Benítez?
Efectivamente, lo último que acabas de decir es lo más importante en la investigación científica. Cuando alguien quiere dar una opinión sobre algo desde el punto de vista de la metodología científica, tiene que conocerlo de primera mano. Y es la invitación que hemos hecho desde el 2017, en donde la comunidad científica que lo desee se acerque a conocer estos cuerpos de forma directa y no a opinar a la distancia detrás de un escritorio o a miles de kilómetros de distancia.
They're basically calling out, but by all it seems like it looks like these doctors are the ones that have been working with these bodies since 2016, because he kind of made a reference to that, and he said that once again you shouldn't be, you got to study them in person. You can't be doing it remotely, 1,000 miles away, sitting in a desk in front of a computer.
Sí, desde el primer momento que nos dimos cuenta que estábamos ante algo extraordinario y completamente diferente a todo lo que habíamos visto, decidimos invitar, y esta invitación permanece abierta. Personalmente le puedo asegurar a usted que el tiempo le dará la razón al que lo tenga y que las mentes más brillantes de este planeta terminarán investigando a estos especímenes. Así que
he's saying that that he knows that at the end, the brightest minds on the planet will be investigating and researching these specimens.
Que reitero de la manera más cordial, fraternal y atenta invitación a todo tipo de académicos, de científicos y de expertos de los.
They're inviting all academics, scientists, researchers.
Diversos ramos que se requieren para entender mejor esto, que se acerquen. No es que traten de por allá armar una igual, etcétera. Yo lo he dicho algunas veces y lo sostengo. Si arman una igual y con instrumentos, con datación de carbono 14, con análisis de ADN les queda igual, tendríamos que reconocer que es otra cosa. Sin embargo, desde abril de 2017 que viajamos al Perú, muchos dijeron que eran armados, pero nadie lo ha podido demostrar de esa manera. Así que, como dicen en México, del dicho al hecho.
All right, he admits that since 2016, 2017, people have been accusing them of putting these together, okay, with different parts. He said, well, everyone accused them, but no one's been able to prove it. And he says, and if someone could come and replicate what they have, then they could have a conversation. But right now, and earlier he mentioned that DNA, carbon testing is all proving that these things are supposedly legit.
Hay mucho trecho. Déjame comentarle, para que también el notario se entere, que durante 7 meses pensábamos que eran muñecos. Los veíamos en la internet, los veíamos a la distancia. Yo nunca me atreví a decir son falsos. Lo que sí hice fue decirle a Jaime Maussan que teníamos que viajar al Perú para investigar de primera mano, en nuestras manos, directamente a los especímenes. Y que muy posiblemente podríamos ser engañados porque somos periodistas. Y por eso convocamos a biólogos, a expertos en ciencias forenses, como el doctor José de Jesús Salce Benítez. Nos reunimos con el equipo del Instituto Incari en el Perú, con Thierry Yamin, con
real quickly, he said that first they also thought that there were some kind of dolls or something, and that they thought that they might have been being, trying to be hoaxed. But that's why they brought biologists and other people to prove that these things are real, because in the very beginning, they also, for 6 months, they didn't think they were real as well.
Joselito Casafranca, con Edward Valenzuela, y decidimos viajar a Perú porque ellos llevaron los especímenes a tomarles rayos X. Cuando nos mostraron los rayos X y los doctores, no a priori, sino a posteriori, no antes de verlos, sino después de verlos, opinaron que eran cuerpos enteros, que la radiografía mostraban que eran seres orgánicos, que vivieron en este planeta, que caminaron, que respiraron. Entonces decidimos viajar. Allá nos reunimos con el biofísico de Rusia, Konstantin Korotkov, y se fueron sumando más expertos, se fueron sumando más especialistas. Va a proceder la imagen, así que es posible que cambie la luz. Estamos muy atentos al pendiente de lo que va a ocurrir. En estos momentos se va a realizar esta tomografía de muchos planos, de diversos planos o cortes que permiten ver el interior a detalle en muy alta resolución y en forma tridimensional. ¿Ante qué estamos? Este espécimen, le reitero, es Clara. Se ha denominado como femenino porque también en el interior, en el vientre, se observan estructuras como huevos. Yo quisiera pedirle al doctor Salce que recordemos aquel día de abril de 2017, cuando por primera vez viajamos a un lugar para tomarle los rayos X a la momia Josefina. Pensábamos que había un embrión adentro, José.
Real quickly, they're just kind of going back and talking about when they first found these things back in 2017 and when they first did their first x-rays and so on. This one is a female, and the reason they know it's a female is because there's 3 eggs inside of it.
La primera vez que estuvimos allá, vimos justamente el abultamiento en la cavidad abdominal y, bueno, no sabíamos lo que tenía ahí, sospechábamos que pudiera tener algún periodo de gestación, pero también pensamos que podía ser parte de su anatomía normal. Para nosotros fue justamente uno de los factores que necesitábamos aclarar y determinar en la toma de las radiografías, rayos X y de la tomografía. Y efectivamente, en el momento en el que tomamos la radiografía y se pudo observar la imagen, y en esta imagen se observaron 3 huevos, fue un momento de total asombro, espectacular, porque estábamos viendo una posible estructura orgánica en una etapa de gestación, lo cual esto facilita el poder determinar que es un organismo vivo. Ahorita vamos a empezar con el estudio y esperamos ver la misma situación en el abdomen de este cuerpo denominado Clara.
Bueno, pues ahí lo tiene usted. Están las imágenes, están saliendo al aire ya las imágenes. Le pregunto aquí al máster, de la posición en donde yo estoy no alcanzo a ver. Y pues es un momento en realidad extraordinario. Hoy, 18 de septiembre de 2023, en el que puedo tener el privilegio, porque esto es un privilegio, y es un honor y un placer también.
If any of you guys are radiologists, I would love to get your input of what you guys think you're seeing. That'd be amazing.
Bien. Estar enfrente nuevamente de uno de estos especímenes que, le repito, fueron encontrados por un buscador de minerales allá en el Perú, en una cueva de algas de diatomeas, donde han surgido al menos 9 especímenes como este. Así que la expectativa es grande, es interesante, ¿sí? ¿Qué está ocurriendo ahorita, doctor José de Jesús Salce, con este instrumento? Cuéntenos.
Ahorita en este momento el cuerpo está siendo pasado en el interior del tomógrafo con la intención de calibrar el equipo. Ya se acaba de prender, empieza a girar, es un imán gigante que va dando vuelta, y esto va a ir haciendo los cortes poco a poco conforme va avanzando el cuerpo. Se van haciendo cortes de cefálico a podálico, es decir, de la cabeza a los pies, haciendo cortes que permiten tener una observación a estructuras milimétricas.
Pues estas estructuras milimétricas son de las que va a dar fe de los hechos el notario público número
35, Carlos Mesa, su servidor.
Sí, licenciado Carlos Mesa, lo sé, pero ahora sí que para que sea usted el que de su viva voz.
Evidentemente estoy muy emocionado también. Mi intervención en este momento se va a basar en dar fe de que efectivamente el cuerpo que está entrando a este dispositivo sea efectivamente el que se va a imprimir en los análisis o en los resultados que resulten de ese análisis, porque naturalmente en mi calidad de notario yo no tengo expertise en cuestiones médicas, simplemente de verificar que el elemento que se está introduciendo en el aparato sea el estudio que refleje, se trate de la misma cosa.
Más que claro, licenciado. Extraordinario, pues ahí escuchó usted cómo se trata de este hecho. Yo recuerdo que allá en donde el experto y médico cirujano, experto en radiología, Edson Salazar Vivanco, que fuimos allá con los amigos del Instituto Incaria, quien mando salud.
I'm waiting to say something. Once they say something, that's important. Right now, they're just talking about previous stuff. They're talking about some of the previous doctors. Right now, they're basically in the process of doing, the X-ray. Okay.
Pues fuimos todos juntos con los documentalistas de la televisora Gaia, que ayudaron a financiar el viaje, nuestro amigo Jirka. Y bueno, se quería documentar. Pues fuimos todos juntos con los documentalistas de la televisora Gaia, que ayudaron a financiar el viaje, nuestro amigo Jirka. Y bueno, se quería documentar ante qué estábamos. Y Joyce Mantilla, nuestro amigo periodista del Perú, nos dijo, si ustedes nos dijo primero, hay que recordar, nos dijo, yo a ustedes no los conozco. Yo soy un periodista de política y de espectáculos y de crítica, pero pedí estar en esta investigación porque están causando expectación en mi país las imágenes que se están publicando en la internet de estos seres, o de estos cuerpos, o de estos objetos, decía él. Y también nos dijo, Joyce Mantilla, si ustedes vienen a mi país a engañar, a intentar hacer un truco, publicidad solo para la televisión, yo los voy a denunciar. ¿Te acuerdas?
Correcto, así nos dijo Joyce Mantilla, y efectivamente él fue uno de los más sorprendidos porque se dio cuenta de que de lo que estábamos hablando era algo fuera de los parámetros, totalmente real, y como pudieron observar ahorita en el momento en el que saqué el cuerpo de la caja, es...
Just real quickly, guys, I just want to say something. It's evident that these are the same doctors that have been working with them for the last 5 or 6 years. So it's not like they got a new batch of doctors to try to give you a unbiased, result or anything like that. Again, I'm not a radiologist, so I don't know how to, say if you could fake something, whatever. They're still in the process of doing it. They did mention that there was a Peruvian journalist who had threatened them, 5, 6 years ago, saying when they first met, if I find out that you're trying to, hoax us, if you're trying to lie to us, we're going to kind of reveal anything. And evidently, this is one of the guys that's backing their claims. Okay.
Es completamente rígido y esto se debe al proceso de desecación que tiene y por lo tanto toda la estructura orgánica desecada se vuelve completamente rígida. Esto permite una manipulación un poco más fácil, sin embargo tiene que ser con mucho más cuidado porque es muy frágil y en cualquier momento podría fracturar o separar alguna de las piezas. Este espécimen, en cuanto terminemos de hacerle el estudio, se los mostraré un poquito más a cámara, tiene ausencia de algunos dedos de los pies y esto es precisamente por la manipulación que tuvo en momentos previos antes de llegar aquí a México y perdió esos pedacitos de dedos, justamente porque es una pieza muy frágil, al ser totalmente rígida, es muy frágil y se puede romper y fragmentar en cualquier momento.
They're saying that the specimens that are there, like the one that's currently on the table, it's missing some of its digits on its feet because in the process of transporting it from Peru to Mexico, it's lost pieces because it's a very fragile specimen.
Sí, pues ahí tiene usted este detalle. Déjeme comentarle también aquí al licenciado, a los amigos, que en aquel momento el periodista Joyce Mantilla nos ganó uno de estos trajes blindados, se lo puso y dice, yo me voy a meter con el que tomó la placa y a mí no me va a cambiar la placa. Yo voy a estar ahí juntito de él y al pendiente de que la placa que tomaron de ese espécimen, la momia Josefina, sea la que va a revelar. A mí no me cambia la placa. Se metió, no se le despegó en ningún momento y él también a su nivel de periodista pudo dar testimonio de que la imagen que se había obtenido de Josefina con los 3 huevos era real, era legítima. Así que qué interesante momento, licenciado, algo que quiera agregar. ¿Qué le parece a usted?
Efectivamente, yo creo que es revelador. Naturalmente, insisto, mi función aquí es dar fe de que el estudio que va a resultar de aplicar la tecnología de este aparato concuerda con el que se le está haciendo a este cuerpo que se acaba de introducir, para que no se vaya a pensar que se sustituyó la información o el análisis que arroje el aparato.
Ahí lo tiene usted nuevamente, más que claro, el hecho, lógicamente, la función específica es dar fe de hechos de que este cuerpo es el que está siendo analizado.
They're saying they'll be very clear that is the body that is currently being x-rayed and showing up on the screen, that other doctor that was just speaking was there to prove that. So, that is the body that's being x-rayed. It's not like there's a body and they're, manipulating it some other way. All right. They're saying that is the body that's currently being x-rayed and showing up on the screen.
Y obtenidas las imágenes que están en vivo, las imágenes. Alberto García, nuestro manager. A ver, vamos a pasar de este lado para empezar a ver las imágenes también, dado que están siendo transmitidas a todo el planeta. A ver, vamos a ver las imágenes acá. Con permiso, ¿se puede abrir? Sí. Están viendo ahí las imágenes. Sí. A ver, ¿está bien así la luz o la cambiamos? A ver, le pregunto aquí a mi equipo, ¿está correcto? Pues ya están aquí los especialistas. Yo le pediría al notario que también se acerque, el licenciado Carlos Mesa, para que sea él también el que pueda dar pues la observación a estas imágenes más que extraordinarias, es lo que yo le puedo decir. Por ahora ha sido denominado el cuerpo no humano Clara. Ahí podemos ver cómo están viendo los especialistas los distintos planos que se están obteniendo. Ya empiezan a hacer su análisis preliminar. Es la primera vez que ellos ven este tipo de imágenes en este cuerpo llamado Clara.
They're saying that this
y les reitero que la intención de esta transmisión no es determinar ante qué estamos. Eso.
They're saying this is the first time that these doctors that are there are currently seeing this type of footage or the splicing of the x-rays. Okay, so this is the first time and they're doing their preliminary look, okay, or their preliminary report or whatever it is, okay.
Por ahora no es factible. Resulta imposible que sepamos qué es este ser. Sin embargo, lo que sí se sabe, como le reitero, es que son antiguos, más de 1000 años, son seres orgánicos que caminaron, que respiraron, que comieron, que habitaron en nuestro planeta allá en el desierto de Palpa y de Nazca en Perú, y que requieren toda la atención y toda la investigación necesaria para que los especialistas en zoología, en ciencias forenses, en biología, en taxonomía, en las innumerables ramas de la ciencia, nos ayuden a entender.
Again, the guy who's talking, he sounds like he's one of Jaime's, disciples, right? And again, I said I want to believe, but basically he's saying that there is no doubt that these are beings that walked the earth 1,000 years ago, that they ate, that they drank they breathed, they were breathing the air that we do, and that they lived 1,000 years ago, that there's no doubt that these are the organic creatures, a different species. Again, now we got to say that this is the guy saying this. We haven't heard this coming from the doctors yet. Ready? Let's see what they say.
Entender de qué se trata. A ver si podemos hacerle aquí un espacio para que el licenciado Carlos Mesa, que está dando testimonio y fe, pues vea que ahí están las imágenes.
Veo perfectamente. Es una pantalla que está transmitiendo unas imágenes que están conectadas con el aparato al cual se introdujo este ser. Evidentemente yo en mi carácter de notario pues no puedo decir nada en el aspecto médico, pero para eso aquí está lleno de expertos.
Bueno, yo tampoco, licenciado, yo soy periodista científico y creo que es lo importante, el equipo. Yo me baso a lo que dicen los instrumentos científicos y los especialistas de cada ramo, licenciada. Así que hace bien usted en especificar que, lejos de decir los términos médicos, la fe de hechos es lo más importante.
Sí, sin duda. ¿Sí? Lo que estamos viendo, pues naturalmente es los resultados que arroja un artefacto científico con esas características respecto del cuerpo que fue introducido al mismo, y solamente sería mi comentario al respecto.
Right. So the guy who's talking right now, not the journalist who's been leading this, but the other guy says he's the notary public, and he's just there to basically testify that these bodies were put in there, and that they were X-rayed, and that they're currently basically going through the process.
Aquí está usted, así que muy bienvenido. Vamos a pasar ya aquí con los expertos, con los especialistas, para que se entere. Reitérenos su nombre para que nos demos cuenta que nos está hablando y sus primeros comentarios, por favor.
Soy el doctor Rubén García Linaje, ortopedista. A ver, seguimos analizando, hay varias cosas que queremos ver. De entrada, puedo decir que lo que estamos viendo son huesos. O sea, eso...
All right, this is the doctor. He's an orthopedic doctor, surgeon, and he says that from the very beginning, the first thing he could say that what he's seeing right now are truly bones.
Eso, hay muchas imágenes que estamos viendo que sí, tienen forma de hueso. Aquí podemos ver toda la parte vertebral, que parecen vértebras, que tiene por el centro un canal, que imaginamos que es el canal medular. Hay algunas cosas que llaman la atención.
He's saying that he could clearly see vertebrae.
Como las costillas, por ejemplo, hay unas costillas que están ahí, como esa imagen que tenemos ahí las costillas están dentro del canal medular. Eso llama mucho la atención. ¿Qué podría ser? Una vez más, no estamos diciendo qué es o de qué se trata, simplemente ver qué es lo que estamos viendo. Me llama mucho la atención la forma en la que están las costillas, la forma circular. No veo un esternón, no veo que tenga alguna parte para cartílago, no sé si se manejaba con oxígeno, si respiraba, pero ahí la caja torácica no tenía mucha posibilidad de expansión por la forma de las costillas. Bueno, hasta ahorita es lo que hemos podido ver.
And right now they're talking about that he's seen the rib cage, and again, I don't know the medical terms for certain things, but he can't really see cartilage or anything like that. He really can't tell necessarily how this thing was able to breathe specifically because of of this angle or what he's seeing right now. But he has vertebrae. He's seen rib cages.
Más que interesante y es comprensible. Está apenas a unos minutos de que vinieran esas imágenes. Vamos a escuchar a los primeros comentarios del radiólogo, que nos reitere su nombre, quién es quien habla.
Soy el doctor González. Miren, viendo, pues es un esqueleto, ¿no? Es un esqueleto aparentemente no armado. O sea, la unión cráneo-cervical se ve muy,
Right. This other guy, he's a radiologist, and the first thing out of his mouth is, "Yep, that's a skeleton." Okay, so going forward.
Cruente, ¿no? Pues a un ser biológico igual, pues de aquí, ¿no? O sea, igual no sabemos qué es, pero sí hay, como decía el doctor, hay costillas que se ensamblan, pues en cierta manera lógica a un esqueleto, y hay otras que se están al canal medular. Esto yo creo que o tuvo un trauma o algo, ¿no? O sea, eso no es como que muy lógico, ¿no? Tiene la articulación de la extremidad superior, también se ve real, ¿no? Tiene glenoides, tiene una articulación ahí pues traspolándolo a un cuerpo humano glenohumeral, ¿no? Igual la caja torácica muy chica, no en la...
He said that there's like similarities to like human bodies. Some of the rib cages, like the ribs, seem to be okay, and some seem like they might have had like some trauma.
Nosotros viendo ventanas, pues no podemos, pues no hay un remanente, ¿no? Que nos pueda decir que hay un pulmón o algo, ¿no? Pero...
Sí, doctor González, ¿nos puede repetir ese término? ¿Dijo usted glenoides? ¿O cómo lo dijo? ¿Qué significa?
La glenoides es como la cúpula donde se ensambla la extremidad superior, ¿no? Y le da los márgenes de movimiento a una extremidad superior, ¿no? Esa es la articulación glenohumeral, ¿no? De la extremidad superior, y así como en la cadera acá abajo, ¿no? Acá no se ve, ¿no? Acá no hay una unión de la extremidad inferior al acetábulo, ¿no? Te digo, tiene mucho tiempo, ¿no? Pero es lo que ahí no tiene mucha congruencia, pero sí son huesos, ¿no? Huesos muy similares a un esqueleto, pues animal, ¿no? Y en ciertas maneras de humanos, ¿no? En la parte de la extremidad superior, ¿no?
Parecidos a los de los humanos, sí, doctor.
Sí, en la que dice Armando, eso muchas incidencias con el humano. Podemos ver la parte humeral y la parte glenoidea. Esto, si lo vemos en un humano, es muy parecido. Incluso en las radiografías que veíamos, que ya se dieron a conocer previamente, en esas radiografías se veía hasta un poco de desgaste, un poco de artrosis, que es lo que vemos también en
So the doctor basically, the other doctor said, yeah, it kind of looks like a humanoid body, that he can't see any remnants of lungs or anything inside or anything, but it kind of looks like a human, human / like an animal, again, a different species. Okay. And then the other doctor says that when he even looks at the bone structure, that you could even see kind of like I don't know the right term of this, but like basically when like bones wearing out from like usage. All right, continue forward here. I apologize, guys.
Pacientes a veces de edad avanzada que encontramos un hombro ya desgastado. Aquí las características del hombro sí son muy similares, a diferencia de la cadera, que la cadera no encontramos una parte que embone muy bien como la unión coxofemoral que normalmente vemos. Es un poquito distinta, es una de las cosas que llama la atención. Si era un ser que caminaba erguido, eso llama la atención. También la parte de la columna. Si se fijan, la columna vertebral está completamente derecha. Normalmente la columna vertebral en personas que caminamos erguidos tiene ciertas angulaciones, escoliosis, lordosis, gifosis, etc. Y aquí está completamente recta.
Bueno, en estos análisis ya preliminares que merecen tomarse ustedes, desde luego, como expertos, todo el tiempo que sea necesario, pero yo les preguntaría si al momento han logrado detectar que este cuerpo haya sido armado o manipulado.
La parte de los hombros, la parte glenohumeral, es una cuestión armada. El cráneo, hay varias cosas que ver con el cráneo. No parecería que fuera armado, no parecería que fuera de llama, como lo han comentado, porque se vería distinto, se verían huellas, ¿no? Huellas de que hayan hecho algunos cortes, algunas modificaciones, porque eso tendría que haber sido alguna cuestión regenerativa biológica, y si eso se hizo post-mortem, pues no hubiera, o sea, lo veríamos aquí, esa parte sí no.
He asked him if he sees any, any proof that anything could have been put together, or modified to look like this. And according to this doctor, no, everything looks the way it's supposed to. That everything looks legit so far. All right, give me 1 second, guys.
No hubiera sido manipulado, se notaría, doctor.
Sí, aquí yo estoy hablando del cráneo y sí, eso sí se notaría. Igual se notaría también en la parte glenohumeral. Ahorita donde no he visto bien es en la parte de la cadera, pues, o de lo que equivaldría a la cadera.
Bueno, merece que se tomen su tiempo, todo el que sea necesario, desde luego. Esta investigación no es de velocidad, es de resistencia, es decir, de resistir el no cerrar la mente y decir, eso es un muñeco, ¿en base a qué? ¿O por qué? ¿O para qué? Me gustaría escuchar nuevamente al especialista en radiología, el doctor Armando González, y preguntarle también a él directamente, hasta ahora no...
All right, give me a second, guys. I think I'm having an issue with the feed. Just bear with me a second here. I'm going to try to see if I can get it. Just bear with me a second, guys. Sorry. So, again, from what they're saying right now, it looks like, that everything looks like the way it should be.
Dado que haya alguna evidencia de que este
And that they haven't found any
cuerpo fue manipulado o armado.
To show any evidence that anything was manipulated.
Manipulado, o sea, no te sabría decir. Armado, no. O sea, no vemos que se una artificialmente o con clavos o con algo este esqueleto, ¿no? Te digo, hay asimetrías, te digo, mira, este húmero no tiene la misma anatomía que el húmero izquierdo, ¿no? Entonces, las densidades no es igual en todo el esqueleto. Te digo, y lo que llama la atención es la extremidad inferior, ¿no? O sea, por ejemplo, acá en la extremidad superior, sí vemos más o menos, ¿no? Como una cabeza humeral a la glenoides, y acá deberíamos de haber un acetábulo, ¿no? Y se ve, pues, la palabra es como artrósico, ¿no? O sea, no vemos...
Padecimiento de los huesos.
Exacto, como que no vemos una articulación clara, ¿no?
He says he doesn't see like a clear articulation.
En la cadera, ¿no? Algo que le pueda dar movimiento, ¿no?
The hip, to give the hips movement.
Y pues llama la atención esa densidad, ¿no? De esas dos, pues bueno, si lo traspolamos a esos dos fémur, ¿no? De este esqueleto, ¿no? Pero te digo, de que veamos clavos, pegamentos o algo, pues no, la verdad es que no se ve, ¿no? Te digo...
Otra pregunta muy específica, doctor. ¿Tienen correspondencia anatómica las extremidades, las coyunturas? ¿Qué nos puede comentar al respecto?
Como comentamos en la parte de los miembros torácicos, sí. Pero aquí me llama mucho la atención esto. Vámonos a la articulación coxofemoral. Aquí vemos el fémur y aquí deberíamos de ver, y recuerden que yo estoy pensando en humanos, aquí deberíamos de ver una estructura esférica donde pudiera embonar lo que creo que es la cabeza femoral. Esto es lo único que me llama la atención, esta parte.
All right, guys, this is not
me esta parte de acá. Eso, y bueno, y en cuestión del carpo, en la mano y del tarso en el pie, no vemos las típicas características de los huesos que normalmente conocemos. Entonces, este ser me parece que no podría haber tenido mucho movimiento. Vemos un solo hueso en el antebrazo Por lo tanto, no creo que pudiera hacer el movimiento de pronosupinación. Y vemos hacia la mano también, pues prácticamente no hay huesos. Y eso le dificultaría mucho la movilidad.
Pues interesantes sus consideraciones. Me gustaría preguntarle al doctor José Salce que también nos dé sus impresiones en base a estos primeros momentos. Digo, son unos cuantos minutos.
Real interesting. I just got to say, this doctor was saying, the doctor that was speaking, like he said, if I understood right, that some of the arms, you know, when he's looking, it's missing, like there should be more bones and stuff like that, you know. So that's the only thing that he has question about, because it doesn't look like it could be very articulate. Okay. So interesting. It's we're getting, you know, it seems like this doctor's giving an honest opinion on what he's seeing, and now they're switching over to a different doctor.
Los que los expertos, los especialistas han visto las imágenes. Muy difícil determinar ante qué estamos, pero la intención de la transmisión es dictaminar, establecer si fue armado o no fue armado, es un ser de una sola pieza. ¿Qué piensa, doctor Salce?
Creo que llegamos al punto medular de todo esto, Fernando. Efectivamente, acaban de ver las imágenes recién tomadas directamente y con la interpretación de un especialista en imagen y un especialista en ortopedia, en donde están confirmando que este cuerpo no tiene señales de haber sido armado o unido por piezas, es decir, que no tiene metales que lo unan, pegamento que lo una o alguna otra estructura que pudiera haber juntado piezas óseas para armar el cuerpo. Ese es el primer punto, que
All right, so the first point he's saying is that a couple doctors have, you know, the ones that are there are looking at this and are clearly saying that based on the x-rays, they don't see any evidence of these skeletons being put together in any way. Like there's no glue or there's no nails or anything that would have put these, you know, these skeletons together. That's the first point.
Estamos todos coincidiendo en que no ha sido armado. Segundo, estamos coincidiendo en que la estructura del esqueleto efectivamente tiene una serie de alteraciones en su anatomía que no serían compatibles con una vida como la conocemos actualmente o en similitud al ser humano. Pero estamos justo ante una...
But now that they also know that there's certain alterations done to the body that would not be similar to a human body. Okay, that there's differences and some kind of alterations.
Especie que aún no hemos descrito, que no hemos descubierto y que seguimos estudiando y analizando. Por lo tanto, este tipo de articulaciones y uniones de huesos tienen una serie de diferencias entre nosotros que lo hacen único.
And that basically at these alterations, basically what he's saying is that they're different, right? That the joints and what unites, you know, like the bones are different from what a human body is. And that's what makes this a different species or a different creature from us.
Y por último, estamos confirmando la presencia de la unión del cráneo y el cuello de manera natural, lo cual implica que, como bien explicaba el doctor especialista en ortopedia, no pudo haber sido la unión de un cráneo de otra especie unido a este cuerpo, porque se verían los residuos de la manipulación de ese cráneo, los tallados, las fracturas, los cortes, las uniones, y aquí no se observa. Al contrario, se ve una perfecta unión.
They're also saying that in regards to the accusations that it was like, you know, a different vertebrae or different, you know, spine and a different skull, they're saying that they could clearly tell that it's a perfect union, a perfect match, and that it's not like from two different, you know, bones. Basically, it's all a perfect match in regards to the skull and the spine.
Entre el cráneo y el cuello. Y por último, hemos llegado al abdomen, en donde sí se observan estas piezas que parecen o podrían ser huevos. Nuevamente estamos ante un cuerpo que, si hubiera estado modificado post-mortem, es decir, después de su muerte, tendría una serie de alteraciones que serían visibles en estos estudios. Al no...
Okay, and they're also now talking about the alleged eggs that are inside the abdomen, right? And that if those eggs would have been put inside of it post-mortem, that we would actually see evidence of the trauma of doing that.
Haber encontrado ninguna de estas características post-mortem, estamos entonces determinando que es un organismo que en su momento tuvo vida, estaba íntegro, fue biológico y se encontraba en un momento de gestación. La verdad es que estamos llegando a una muy buena interpretación por parte del especialista en radiología y el especialista en ortopedia, que confirman los datos y la información de los resultados que se han expuesto con anterioridad desde el 2017.
So again, they're basically agreeing of what they've been saying since 2017. And I'll say this once again, you know, if they want, just my opinion real quickly, if they want people to believe this, they need to give these specimens to other people, a non-biased, you know, lab, university, or someone to do the same, you know, to do the research. But because basically, at all appearance, it's the same doctors that were involved back 5 years ago.
Bueno, pues más que extraordinario, ahí lo tiene usted. Me gustaría pedirle a Guillermo, está aquí Guillermo, si nos puede mostrar esa parte en el pecho que brilla, que es uno de los implantes metálicos, para preguntarle nuevamente a los especialistas, a él, en primer lugar al radiólogo Armando González, eso que brilla ahí, si lo quiere señalar, que se ve en cámara, eso que brilla ahí, ¿es normal eso? Porque inferimos que es de metal en base a los análisis de otros especímenes.
Bueno,
¿qué nos puede decir?
Acá este equipo nos permite medir algo que se llama unidades Hounsfield. Esto nos da la densidad de cualquier imagen que está capturando el equipo, ¿no? En este caso, las unidades Hounsfield están por arriba de 4000, ¿no? Eso quiere decir que pues, nos aclara que es un metal, ¿no? Curiosamente, también nos está midiendo en las extremidades inferiores unidades de 2500 unidades, ¿no? Entonces, parece que tiene metal en las extremidades inferiores también, ¿no?
They're saying that there is some kind of metals inside. That what's shiny is some kind of metals inside. Okay, that's the stuff that shows up kind of like glowing on the X-ray.
Sin embargo, esa placa no se ve como incrustada con clavos, ¿no? Se ve adherida, ¿no? O sea, no...
Implantada.
No, pues es que se ve, o sea, se ve que no pertenece al hueso, ¿no? De la caja torácica, pero no se ve que esté como, pues sí, o sea, como fijada de alguna manera con otro metal hacia la estructura, o sea, no se ve adherida, ¿no? O sea, eso es lo que te puedo decir, ¿no? Y lo que no nos hace clic es eso, ¿no? Es estas costillas que pasan así le llamamos nosotros forámenes, que es donde pasan las raíces nerviosas, ¿no? De la médula. ¿Esto fue trauma o esto no puede ser, ¿no? O sea...
Ahí complementando lo que está diciendo el doctor, efectivamente es muy probable que esas costillas hayan perforado o se hayan introducido hacia el canal medular precisamente por el tiempo que tiene el cuerpo en un estado de desecación y la presión a la que estuvo sometido. Hay que recordar que no estaba en una bolsa, en una cápsula o en algo, sino que estaba soportando el peso de todo el polvo de diatomea, y eso comprime al tórax, y por lo tanto, al ser un hueso viejo, es muy probable que haya provocado que la costilla se haya insertado al interior del canal medular, como lo está diciendo el doctor. Es una observación muy buena la que está haciendo el doctor.
Sí, me gustaría regresar, ahora vamos con el ortopedista, pero regresar con Armando González, experto en radiología, y Guillermo, si nos hace énfasis en eso de las unidades, que se escuche muy claro cómo se llaman estas unidades para que los amigos lo entiendan perfectamente y cuántas unidades tiene el hueso y cuántos tiene eso que ahora podemos inferir que es un metal.
Bueno, las unidades Hounsfield son las unidades objetivas para medir, ¿no? Lo claro de una imagen o lo poco claro de una imagen, ¿no? Por ejemplo, el aire tiene que estar en menos. Entonces, si lo ponemos aquí en... Pon el rollo acá. Pon a medir otra vez el aire.
Sí, mira, aquí estamos haciendo la medición de estas unidades. En el aire, ¿cuánto debe ser la lectura?
Tiene que ser en menos, ¿no? Tiene que ser en unidades negativas,
en unidades negativas.
Y por el contrario...
No hay densidad. ¿Y en el hueso?
Y en el hueso, por ejemplo, acá la unidad, en el aire, o sea, aquí está el cuerpo y aquí, por ejemplo, está arriba el cuerpo y nos da unidades de menos 1042, ¿no? Eso quiere decir que es gas, es aire, ¿no? Y, por ejemplo, cuando ponemos la medición en la placa de metal, nos arroja hasta 5000, o sea...
Hasta 5982 unidades.
Entonces...
y a ver, en algún hueso.
Si nos vamos a un hueso, pues ya va a 600 unidades, ¿no? Entonces, es menos duro, es menos denso, ¿no? Entonces, es lo que nos permite señalar objetivamente, ¿no? Pues la densidad de una imagen que estamos estudiando, ¿no? Entonces, de los huesos, ¿no? Entonces, te digo, aparentemente hay unidades Hounsfield que nos arrojan hasta 2600 en ambas extremidades inferiores, ¿no? Como
en las piernas.
En las piernas, entonces hay que ver eso, ¿no? ¿Qué está pasando ahí, no?
Y en un ser humano, por ejemplo, en un...
Again, guys, and I apologize. They're talking a lot of medical jargon that I don't understand, but they are talking about that plate that's supposedly like on the chest. You know, they haven't said what type of metal it is. I don't know if they've tried to do some research on that, or they're just talking about, you know, the bones, the bone structure, the depth, and stuff like that.
Un niño, en un ser pequeño, o incluso tal vez tenga el dato de una persona que tenga muy baja estatura, ¿entre cuántas unidades debemos estar midiendo? Aproximadamente.
¿Las unidades en qué parte del cuerpo?
Por ejemplo, en las piernas de un niño, de una persona de baja estatura. ¿Cuáles son las mediciones, digamos, típicas o comunes?
Pues te digo, hay una escala, ¿no? Donde te dice la densidad que tanto abarca una estructura ósea, ¿no? Y pues oscila entre los 400, 700 unidades más o menos el hueso, ¿no? El metal es por arriba de 3000, ¿no? 3500. Entonces, así podemos evidenciar, ¿no? Obviamente ningún metal debería estar en un niño, ¿no? Ni en los huesos, eso no existe.
¿Le parece a usted que estos son huesos de un niño?
No, la verdad que no tiene anatomía de estructura de un infante, ¿no? Entonces...
this doctor was just asked, you know, does he think that these are skeletons of children? And he said, this does not have the anatomy of a child, because they were basically saying, why would this have, why would there be metals inside of a child? And again, they asked him if he thought this was a body of a child, and he replied, no, this does not have the anatomy of a child. And again, I see, a couple guys saying, well, would they release? Yes, they should give this to a non-biased university so they could put the story to rest, guys. All right, is it real? Is it not? I still, I know which way I'm leaning.
Lo que podemos decir, ¿no?
¿Algún comentario adicional, por favor, doctor?
Esta parte de la placa, normalmente nosotros cuando ponemos placas en los huesos.
Just real quickly, the reason, and again, like I said before, I wish this was real. I wish this was but unfortunately, Jaime Maussan has had a lot of very questionable, objectionable reporting that he's done in the past.
Para fracturas, las fijamos con algún tipo con tornillos, normalmente es lo común. Aquí se ve por encima del hueso, no parecería que estuviera fija el hueso con implantes. Entonces, si la pregunta es que eso es normal, eso no es normal, ¿no? Creo que solamente podría decir Iron Man que es normal, de ahí en fuera, pues no. No es normal ver esto. No tenemos casos así, normalmente las vemos así como se ve, pero con los tornillos puestos, ¿no? Y dentro del armado, definitivamente es algo que En la extremidad superior yo me quedo más tranquilo. La extremidad inferior es la que tengo mis dudas en cuanto a la unión coxofemoral. Esa sería mi conclusión.
Sí, algunos especímenes tienen también, muchas gracias doctores, vamos a pasar por acá, tienen también implantes de metal o bien metales como si fueran prótesis en las partes de las extremidades. Vamos a investigar más de esto, ya salieron las...
Okay, he kind of mentioned earlier that there was like 9 specimens altogether. And right now he said that in some of the other specimens, you know, some of these metal things that it almost looks like they might be like some kind of prosthetics. Okay. We know what the first thing comes to mind, right? What little baby Borgs or something like from Star Trek. All right, well, here we go.
Placas de rayos X me están informando. Vamos a pasar de este lado. Estamos ante equipos muy modernos de alta tecnología y en este momento van a ser tomadas las placas de rayos X. Así que nuevamente el notario, nuestro amigo el de la notaría número 3, aquí está porque es más que importante que...
Okay, so previous were the MRI, now they're going to do the X-rays. Okay, the X-rays. And reminder, guys, please, like, comment, subscribe, share, and don't forget that as soon as we're done with this, we're going to go straight into the JFK and Marilyn Monroe UFO assassination theory. Okay, stay tuned. Thank you.
¿Algún comentario hasta ahora de lo que compete a su ramo legal, por favor?
De lo que compete a la fe de hechos que me hicieron favor de invitar, pues naturalmente, sin duda, las imágenes que se han transmitido del aparato, pues según lo que hemos escuchado por los expertos, sí pertenecen a un ser que tuvo vida. Y lo único que puedo decir yo, que es lo que me compete en el tema concretamente de la fe de hechos, es que los estudios que estamos viendo sí se le están practicando a este ser. O sea, coincide toda la técnica que se está empleando a través de estos aparatos y de los nuevos que se van a emplear ahora en determinar la naturaleza de este ser que tenemos aquí, para ver si tenía vida o no tenía vida, y los que explican son los expertos. Yo solamente doy fe de que sí se trata del mismo ente que se está investigando.
Pues ahí lo tiene usted, en vivo, en directo para todo el planeta, ¿sí? A ver, adelante, doctor.
Ahorita que lo puedo levantar, me gustaría mostrarles la ausencia de los 3 dedos en el pie, precisamente por fractura, al igual que la ausencia de este dedo en la mano, pero sobre todo me interesa que el licenciado, el notario, vea que no tiene ningún tipo de estructura de sujeción externa o de armado externo que pudiera suplantar o hacer un solo cuerpo, un solo individuo, y que, como ya fue comprobado en la tomografía, pues sí está compuesto de estructuras óseas, que incluso podemos ver aquí la fragilidad de cómo está roto y se ve como si fuera claramente el interior de un hueso.
You know, he's just pointing out that this thing is missing a digit on the finger, you know, on one of the hands, that it's also missing 2, and that he says, and if you take a look at the parts that are missing or broken, you look inside, that it clearly looks like bone.
A simple vista. Ahorita vamos
de una sola pieza.
De una sola pieza, o sea, es un esqueleto completo íntegro de una sola pieza que tiene algunos fallos de la manipulación que sufrió y el tiempo de más de 1000 años que ha tenido. ¿Dónde lo pongo?
Sí. Bueno, se va a tomar ahora la placa de rayos X y en lo que eso ocurre, con permiso, vamos a pedir la opinión, el análisis preliminar de otro especialista, que sea él quien, debido a vos, nos diga su nombre y su cargo, por favor. Bienvenido, gracias.
Gracias, mi nombre es Hasner Casas, soy director médico de este hospital. Realmente somos un hospital muy profesional y quisimos colaborar con esta investigación justo para que tuvieran la confianza de que se está realizando en un lugar seguro y que no estamos de ninguna forma omitiendo una opinión que no favorezca a ninguna de las partes. Entonces, pues nos atrevimos a brindar este espacio para que este estudio tenga mayor seriedad y que sea un estudio muy completo.
Le agradezco muchísimo y en todo lo que vale, el público, la comunidad científica, los académicos deben también de estar complacidos y agradecidos con esta oportunidad de que sí hay una clínica de las más importantes de nuestro país en México y con los instrumentos de alta tecnología muy modernos y que se quitaron el estigma o el prejuicio o el tabú de pensar que son muñecos. Creer es solo una cosa, saber es lo que venimos a hacer, doctor.
Sí, de acuerdo. Nosotros también estamos a favor de la ciencia y de la investigación, entonces por eso fue que se brindó la oportunidad.
Muchas gracias nuevamente. En estos momentos, el técnico en radiología, Guillermo, está tomando ya la placa de rayos X. Aquí estamos muy atentos con nuestros trajes blindados de plomo, con las medidas adecuadas para estar aquí, el notario público en primera fila, para ver que, como dicen algunos, no hay gato por liebre aquí.
Efectivamente, estoy verificando que el aparato que va a hacer el análisis radiológico lo esté haciendo sobre todas las posiciones en las que están poniendo a este ente, a este ser.
Again, it's just just confirming that they're going to be x-raying it, kind of like the same thing, the notary public stating what they're doing, nothing special. Alrighty.
Y que desde luego correspondan los análisis efectivamente al organismo que es materia de este análisis.
Pues más que extraordinario nuevamente, está usted en la señal de Maussan TV en vivo y en directo, presenciando lo que es historia pura. Por primera vez se transmiten al aire para todo el planeta este tipo de imágenes. Hay una agencia de noticias también aquí con nosotros, ahorita más adelante a los colegas, y se va a llevar usted una gran sorpresa que fueron invitados. También se les va a pedir su opinión, desde luego como periodistas, de la parte de los comunicadores. Todo lo que ha externado su servidor Fernando Correa, que le agradece que esté con nosotros, desde luego, debe de estar usted muy complacido, de que está usted muy bien enterado, y reiterar que todo lo que he expresado no es de mi persona, sino en base a análisis de instrumentos científicos y desde luego a los análisis rigurosos, minuciosos de los expertos en cada uno de los ramos. Así que el doctor José de Jesús Salce Benítez, que seguramente ya lo conoce, entre otras ramas de especialidad, es experto en ciencias forenses. Me gustaría escuchar qué otro comentario debemos de saber y tener en cuenta el notario, los periodistas, los especialistas y los amigos del público.
Bueno, Fernando, con todo gusto, mira, ahorita ya terminamos lo que son la tomografía y pasamos a toma de radiografía simple. Ya se hizo una toma antero-posterior, que es de la parte de enfrente hacia atrás, y ya tomamos una radiografía lateral. Ahorita ya la están analizando los resultados. Yo creo que vamos a tomar alguna otra más, otra imagen más. Y bueno, yo estoy colaborando aquí en la manipulación del cuerpo para precisamente preservarlo, porque como tienen más de 1000 años, están desecados y ya fueron extraídos de su ambiente de conservación, pues han empezado ya con el proceso de pulverización. Entonces hay que tener mucho cuidado en su manipulación, porque cualquier movimiento brusco o una mala posición podría fracturar la pieza.
Déjeme comentarle que llegó aquí en un contenedor especial, con un ambiente definido, con una temperatura específica, y ahora vamos a pasar de este lado, que nos acompañe el licenciado, por favor, para que también se dé cuenta de qué es lo que estamos viendo, en vivo y en directo, las imágenes de los rayos X. Es un lugar relativamente pequeño. A ver, acérquese por favor, licenciado. Yo me voy a dar la vuelta de este lado. Allá está lleno de cámaras. A ver, me voy a acercar aquí porque quiero escuchar lo que dice Guillermo. Adelante, Guillermo.
No hay vía aérea. Sí, bueno, estábamos comentando.
¿Qué puedes decirnos?
Pues comentando lo que vimos en la tomografía y lo que el doctor radiólogo comentó, en la parte de cabeza-cuello no hay una evidencia que esté unida, pues, o sea, es un cuerpo completo, por así decirlo, que va de cabeza a cuello y pasando hacia el área del esternón.
Un cuerpo completo de cabeza a cuello, digo, se está viendo por partes, ahí está la placa. A ver, ayúdame con el micrófono con el doctor García, por favor, acércaselo.
Sí, no, aquí podemos ver perfectamente, vean esto que está aquí, esa es la glenoides. ¿Okay? Esa es la parte donde se articula la cabeza humeral, que eso es lo que hablábamos en la tomografía. Estas imágenes se ven muy parecidas a la del humano. Vemos de este lado todo esto que parecería un desgaste importante, ¿no? En la parte del hombro.
Just real quickly, they're saying it looks like it's all one body. You know, that even when you look at the shoulders, like just the normal wear that you get from bone to bone, that's there as well.
Aquí vemos las costillas, que es lo que les comentaba al principio. Aquí no parecería haber espacio para expansión. Nosotros tenemos costillas y un esternón, y entre las costillas y el esternón tenemos cartílago. Eso permite que podamos expandir los pulmones y hacer intercambio de oxígeno. Es una cosa que habría que tomar en cuenta. Si nos vamos a la parte de aquí abajo, vean.
The one thing he did say was that the difference on this type of rib cage is that, like, our rib cage has cartilage, and that's why it expands when we breathe, right? This one is not designed this way, or it doesn't look that way, okay?
Una cosa muy importante es cuando nosotros estudiamos la estructura del fémur, entendemos que hay deformaciones, como la deformidad acá, que debería, en teoría, si esto fuera un humano, deberíamos de ver un trocánter mayor, un trocánter menor, porque por los músculos se va deformando, eso se llama ley de Wolff. En este caso vemos bastante plano el fémur, ¿no? Por llamarlo de alguna manera esto, y pues aquí es lo que les decía en la tomografía, que deberíamos de ver un espacio donde pudiéramos embonar el fémur con la parte correspondiente de la pelvis. Y eso es, a mí, insisto, lo que me llama mucho la atención es la parte de la cadera. Y por otro lado vean aquí el carpo, vean la mano, como normalmente si nosotros vemos la de un humano vemos varios huesos, acá vemos, me imagino que nada más es uno, parecería que solo es uno, y tiene tres dedos, ¿no? 3 falanges. Aquí la movilidad tuvo que haber sido mínima. Entonces, bueno, eso ya.
You know, listen, this doctor seems to be being pretty fair. Basically, he's saying, like, in the hip area, it doesn't, like, there's not a socket like the, you know, for the hips, and that also on the hands, you know, it just looks like one bone. And if you look at a human hand or human wrist, there's multiple bones. That doesn't exist in this one.
Es otra cosa, pero esto es lo que yo puedo decir de la radiografía.
Pues que en la parte igual del fémur, si gusta venir el doctor, el médico radiólogo, lo que lo comentaba aquí al doctor es que en la parte del fémur que nosotros vimos, que estábamos hablando de las unidades Hounsfield, como tal no me deja o no está tan evidenciado que haya un metal, caso que sí pasa aquí en el esternón. Un metal se puede ver, si quieren ahorita vemos un ejemplo de un metal, cómo se ve en una radiografía, pero como tal aquí en esto no se ve nada. Cambia un poquito la perspectiva de las unidades Hounsfield en la placa.
Una pregunta para el experto en ortopedia, una pregunta suspicaz. A ver, vamos a ver el metal que tiene ahí en el pecho. Ese pedazo de lo que inferimos en base a que se ha visto que son metálicos en otros especímenes, ¿ese metal por sí solo podría sostener o armar el cuerpo?
No, todo el cuerpo sin duda no. Tendrían, o sea, a ver, para nosotros hacer una unión tenemos que ir por partes. Si yo quiero unir el hombro, tengo que tener una estructura en el hombro, en la cadera, en el codo, etc. Este metal por sí solo no podría sostener o unir el cuerpo, como comentabas. Pudiera tener alguna cuestión en esa zona en específica, pero vemos en la lateral, en la radiografía lateral, sí, lo encontramos superficial podría tener que ver con esta parte de lo que pienso que es una costilla, pero no podría unir todo el cuerpo, sin duda alguna, no.
Bueno, quise ser más que específico en ese término y me gustaría pasar a la parte abdominal, por favor, doctor, para que pues nos dé usted una opinión inicial, un comentario de esas estructuras ovoides. ¿Qué es lo que piensa de ellas?
Bueno, esa pregunta sí ya está un poquito compleja para mí, se sale de mi área de expertise, pero pues bueno, se han dicho que son huevos. Eso sí no los podemos ver. A lo mejor hablamos de la posibilidad de la posibilidad de hacer un ultrasonido para determinar un poco más, pero creo que eso no soy yo el indicado para opinar acerca de los huevos.
Bueno, ha sido.
They asked him if he could give an opinion of what was supposedly eggs, and this doctor's saying, "Yeah, I really can't do that. It's out of my area of expertise."
Usted más que honesto y específico, sin embargo muy válido preguntarle a usted, ¿le parecen a usted que sean algo como, por decir algo extraño, piedras, vidrio o algo así?
A ver, vidrio no, piedras podrían ser, no puedo decir que no son piedras, definitivamente.
They asked him if he thinks that, like what does he think could it be? Based on the X-rays, could it be glass? He goes, it's not glass. And they asked him, could it be stone, like rocks or stones? And he goes, stones. I can't say they're not stones.
A lo mejor por la tomografía pudiéramos dar un poquito más de información de eso, pero no podría descartarlo.
Le hago estas preguntas porque hay quien ha señalado que en la momia Josefina se metieron piedras, se metieron cuarzos, se metieron metales, pero al tiempo análisis posteriores fueron completando que se trataban en realidad de huevos. Yo quiero recordar, y aquí me voy a pasar con el doctor José Salce, que en cuanto vimos a la momia Josefina y que tenía huevos en el vientre, todos corrimos a ver la cloaca, o sea, por la parte donde hacen sus excreciones y también por donde, háblenos más de eso, ya le vio aquí la cloaca, doctor.
En ese caso en específico fue el biólogo José de la Cruz el que mencionó la existencia de una cloaca justamente para el proceso de ovoposición. Buscamos la cloaca y no la encontramos, pero porque estaba cubierta con el polvo de diatomea. Después de que se hizo una limpieza del área, el biólogo José de la Cruz encontró la cloaca de forma transversal, es una abertura de forma transversal.
O sea, no es, digamos así como en los seres humanos.
No es longitudinal.
Es de pierna a pierna, debemos entender.
De pierna a pierna, es correcto, en forma transversal, que coincide como, por ejemplo, con la cloaca que tienen los lagartos, por ejemplo, y estos son comentarios hechos y especificados por el biólogo José de la Cruz.
Sí, qué importante, un saludo también al biólogo José de la Cruz Ríos, que se dedica al sector salud, es un profesional de su área, que se ha quitado el estigma, el tabú, la programación social de no investigar algo diferente. Estamos ante algo completamente diferente a todo lo que habíamos visto antes. Por primera vez en la historia están siendo analizados.
Look, man, I'll be honest to you. If they thought this was going to persuade some people, there's still, they should have had some unbiased doctors in there to talk, because even the doctors that are there, they're being, some of them are being very honest. Like, yeah, I don't know what they are. What's this? And I think a panel of doctors from different parts of the world, or like I said, send these little bodies somewhere so they could be properly examined. All righty, let's keep on going.
Científicamente, y en esta ocasión en vivo y en directo, estas imágenes, doctor.
Ahorita lo que me interesaría es que fuéramos a ver, porque le acaban de tomar una radiografía para ver justamente manos y pies tridáctilos, y es lo que están observando. Si vamos.
Claro que sí. Esta transmisión sigue. Complacidos de que usted siga con nosotros, muy atento, y pues no hay manera de que no me atraviese las cámaras, es parte de esto, pero adelante, doctor.
Aquí estamos viendo los miembros pélvicos, ya dejando un poco de lado las caderas, ya no hablamos mucho de eso, estamos hablando ahorita del fémur, de la tibia, la articulación que en humanos esto es la rodilla. Aquí esto es, por lo que veo, no me parece que era un ser que tuviera movilidad en esta zona. Pero bueno, a lo mejor hay otras estructuras que se han ido perdiendo, no lo sé. Lo que sí me llama mucho la atención es esto. Vean ustedes, aquí estamos hablando de fémur de los dos lados y de tibia de los dos lados. Vean la diferencia, lo que vemos aquí blanco le llamamos el hueso cortical. Vean las corticales de estos tres huesos y vean las corticales de este hueso. Eso me llama también mucho la atención, lo adelgazada que está la cortical de este lado. Y pues esto es incompatible con una rodilla, esta parte de acá, ¿no? O sea, estoy hablando de la articulación per se en cuanto a movilidad.
Interesting. This doctor pointed out that like mobility wise, it's incompatible because where the knees should be, there are no knees.
De una rodilla humana.
Claro, yo estoy pensando en una rodilla humana, que es la
es lo de su especialidad, o sea.
Exactamente, exactamente, ¿no? Y si nos vamos para acá, pues también, hablando de tobillos, pues aquí la movilidad es nula, ¿no? O sería nula en el caso de este ser. Pero sí destaco esta parte de las corticales, lo adelgazado que está esta región y la diferencia
They also said like the ankles, like it doesn't have ankles.
Entre estos otros tres huesos.
¿Le parecería a usted, o bien se le antojaría, por decirlo así, le viene a la mente que se hagan análisis posteriores, adicionales y de mayor profundidad, incluso para entrar dentro de estos huesos?
No, bueno, sin duda. Poder estar ahí entre ese hueso en el canal medular sería para mí muy interesante, me podría dar mucha más información. Creo que con esto es un inicio, creo que van a tener que hacer bastantes más estudios.
Okay, this is very interesting. What now they're saying this doctor who specializes like in the joints, right? He's like, there's no kneecaps, there's no ankles, and the journalist kind of said, so what do you think we should do? He goes, well, I think this is the beginning. We need to go into the body. We need to kind of like go inside and take a look. So are they going to allow them to open these little guys up?
A mí me parece, yo te puedo decir, aquí es un hueso, no tengo duda. Algo más allá de eso, sí tendríamos que tener los suficientes estudios o abarcar en más estudios para tener otro tipo de conocimiento, porque acá pues es un poquito difícil saberlo.
Again, this doctor is actually being really fair. He says, I could tell you this is a bone, but besides that, I can't say anything else unless we do, more studying on this.
Con la tomografía y la radiografía.
Bueno, ya es la primera vez que está usted ante algo como esto, ¿verdad? ¿Está sorprendido?
Bueno, sin duda. Sorprendido desde que me invitaron, ¿no? Claro, sin duda yo nunca había estado ante esta situación y pues está muy interesante.
Bueno, ya lo escuchó usted. Desde luego que merece análisis adicionales. Desde luego que merece toda la atención de aquellos que tengan la audacia, la astucia, la osadía o como usted le quiera llamar, de hacer a un lado las programaciones científicas, las programaciones sociales, lo que llaman una programación epigenética, es decir, una costumbre. Se acostumbra a descartar este tipo de hallazgos sin investigar. Así que reitero una atenta invitación a que los académicos de las innumerables ramas que se requieren se acerquen con nosotros, con este equipo. Se está dando cuenta usted de los profesionales en sus especialidades que nos acompañan y de los instrumentos de laboratorio, clínicos, tecnología de avanzada en los cuales nos estamos respaldando. Vamos a pasar a otro análisis, me están indicando.
So real quickly, he's like, yeah, so we're going to go ahead and continue doing some research and we're going to continue to do this and continue to do that. So again, very interesting on that. Again, I'm not too, it seems to me like this is like, all right, we're going to start here. It wouldn't surprise me if if there's going to be some fundraising, like, hey, we need to go in and get some more, we need money to do these research because obviously none of this is free, right? There. So interesting that already before this thing is over, they're saying, we're going to have to do more. We're going to have to do more, So, yeah. Okay, let's see. Again, guys, let's see. Like I said, I'm after the truth. So far,
This is Geraldo Rivera
¿Es así?
opening up.
Vamos a pasar a la fluoroscopía y hasta ahí le voy a decir que sean los expertos quienes nos digan para qué se usa esta llamada fluoroscopía. Yo solo le puedo adelantar por ahora que cuando hay intervenciones quirúrgicas en vivo es para estar viendo dichas operaciones. Así que vamos ahora de este lado. No vamos a cortar la transmisión de ninguna manera. Vamos a continuar, ¿sí? Aquí tenemos el contenedor en el que con mucho cuidado se ha manipulado este espécimen, o sea, se ha transportado, es decir, con mucho cuidado se ha transportado, se ha conservado. Tiene incluso ahí polvo de diatomea que ayuda a su preservación. Entonces vamos a la fluoroscopía de rayos X y siga usted muy al pendiente.
Real quickly, guys, they're going to keep on doing more x-rays and stuff on the other specimen. Quick reminder, as soon as this is over, okay, and the truth is I'm hoping it's going to be over pretty soon. We are going to go on to what I was going to do at 8 o'clock, which was going to be the the story of Marilyn Monroe and JFK. All right, guys. So we're getting close now. We're getting close. They're going to be doing more. They said X-ray, could be an ultrasound, Daniel, maybe. Okay, but let's keep on going and see what else they're going to do here.
Sí, así es. Sí, me están comentando aquí del equipo que tenemos más de 10,000 seguidores ahora mismo en el canal de YouTube, que el impacto ha sido más que extraordinario y que, pues bueno, usted puede y debe seguir al pendiente. Ojalá, y yo espero que los académicos, los expertos, el Instituto Politécnico Nacional, la Universidad Nacional Autónoma de México, desde luego las grandes universidades privadas y públicas, la Universidad Metropolitana, todas ellas, desde luego tomen cartas en el asunto y que puedan colaborar en su especialidad. Aquí de lo que se trata es de encontrar la verdad, sea cual sea. Nosotros cuando viajamos a Perú en abril de 2017, dijimos, si son muñecos, pues fueron muñecos y listo. Sin embargo, nos dimos cuenta de que no era así. Thierry Yamín, el presidente del Instituto Incari en Cusco, envió una carta, aquí la tenemos, envió una carta al Ministerio de Cultura del Perú para que los profesionales en antropología, en arqueología, en las diversas ramas de la ciencia, se acercaban a investigar y fue ignorado. También recuerdo en otro viaje que hicimos que con Jaime Maussan fuimos al Ministerio de Cultura en persona, se estuvo ahí esperando a que se le atendiera, nunca nos hicieron caso. Que no ocurra esto también en México, que hagan caso los que tienen que hacer caso, los grandes científicos, aquellos que pretendan participar en buena intención de encontrar la verdad, pues son bienvenidos, pero insisto, se tiene que hacer con los cuerpos, no a distancia, ni armando por allá algo que, fabricando algo, un modelo, etcétera.
Again, very interesting. You know, they're challenging other doctors, other scientists, other researchers to research these bodies, but not from far away, to actually use these bodies. So I wonder if they're going to open, if they're going to open up the research to anyone else. Like I told you guys earlier today, I'm hoping I'm wrong. I doubt that I'm wrong, but let's keep on going.
Que pretenda empatar con esta situación que, como vemos, es algo muy diferente. Vamos a pasar de este lado. Muchas gracias a todos los amigos que nos acompañan. Y ahora vamos a la fluoroscopía de rayos X. ¿Y quién es el que nos va a explicar para mí y para todo el público de lo que se trata? A ver, Guillermo, por favor. ¿Qué es este instrumento? Sus especificaciones que nos puedas compartir. ¿Y qué es la fluoroscopía? ¿Para qué se usa?
Pues miren, la fluoroscopía sí se usa en diferentes estudios, sobre todo en quirófano, en el área. Lo que pasa aquí son igual rayos X, funciona igual a base de rayos X. Lo que puede de esto, imagen en tiempo real. En tiempo real nos puede marcar imagen, podemos abarcar de cabeza a pies. Entonces es lo que vamos a ver
en tiempo real.
En tiempo real, sin tener que esperar ninguna para que nos dé la imagen.
Sí. Sí, claro que sí, vamos de este lado. El notario público está muy, muy atento aquí a todo lo que está ocurriendo.
Que ya explicaron qué es lo que va a hacer y se trata efectivamente del mismo aparato del mismo ente que yo vi salir de esa caja, es al que se le han venido practicando todos los estudios.
Más que extraordinario, gracias, licenciado. Bueno, ahora vamos de este lado. El espacio es, pues bueno, un laboratorio de análisis clínicos. Nos va a explicar José Salce más detalles.
Voy a tratar de hacer una demostración de lo que acaba de explicar Guillermo, que es en tiempo real. No sé si alguna cámara pueda tomar directo la imagen que se está viendo en pantalla, que está aquí en pantalla.
Una cámara en pantalla y otra al objeto
de
estudio, como le dijo él.
Se ve en tiempo real, voy a pasar mi mano y al pasar mi mano ustedes van a ver cómo están ahí mis huesos.
All right, so yeah, so they're going to do like a real time type of X-ray. I guess it's more detailed from the previous stuff, and he says that you're going to be able to see that it's not like this is real because he's actually going to move his hand right by it so you could see his hand, and it's real time. They're going to be showing this in real time.
Por lo tanto,
a ver, muy atento al notario público, por favor. Este es un detalle, pues más que primordial.
Esta es mi mano, son mis huesos. Ahí se está viendo en tiempo real que la imagen es en este momento y al quitar mi mano queda directamente ya el cuerpo que vamos a analizar.
¿Puede mover un poco el cuerpo también para hacer esto en tiempo real?
Voy a mover tanto.
Muy ligeramente para que se note.
Ahí ve mi mano cómo entra y ahí estamos moviendo el cuerpo para que puedan ustedes ver que es completamente en tiempo real y que nos permite obtener detalles de imágenes de rayos X, pero con la posibilidad de movimiento.
Su comentario, por favor, señor notario público.
Nunca había tenido la oportunidad de ver un aparato de esta naturaleza. Me parece formidable que la tecnología tenga este grado de avance y efectivamente estoy dando fe de que este aparato está transmitiendo en vivo el análisis que se le está haciendo a este cuerpo objeto de esta investigación.
Muchas gracias nuevamente. Pues está usted presenciando un estudio que ya se nos había ocurrido hace algunos años. No encontrábamos un laboratorio, no encontrábamos a los científicos, a los expertos que tuvieran, yo diría, la osadía, la audacia, la astucia, o bien el interés puro de la ciencia de participar en el estudio, José Salce.
Es correcto, este estudio de fluoroscopía ya lo habíamos solicitado en diversas ocasiones, pero no habíamos encontrado el equipo médico o la clínica médica que tuviera el valor y la audacia de poder realizar esos estudios y por lo tanto para mí en lo particular y yo creo que para todos este momento es crucial porque da fe de que todo lo que está sucediendo ahorita y de que todo lo que estamos viendo y analizando ahorita es completamente real, es completamente en vivo y para eso el licenciado notario nos está haciendo el favor de dar fe de hechos.
Pues más que extraordinario, de mi parte sigo pues muy complacido en los términos del periodismo científico de la comunicación de tener esta oportunidad de invitar nuevamente a las mentes más brillantes de nuestro planeta para que participen y se dejen de solo opiniones, Se trata de participar y se les está dando la oportunidad de hacerlo directamente, como ahora sí, como dice el licenciado Notario.
Again, he's saying, look, we're giving anyone who wants to do this, like any lab scientist, the opportunity to research these bodies and so on. You know, well, all right, you know what? Someone needs to take up an offer, right? Take up the offer and research it and see what they figure out with this.
Al objeto de estudio, o sea, este cuerpo, este espécimen, este ser que vivió, caminó y estuvo en nuestro planeta.
He's trying to say, look, this creature walked and, you know, whatever. This is what's interesting that I just, and again, if another life would come to us, or if there is life, and again, I do believe that there is life out there, right? Obviously, they're not going to look exactly the same biologically. They're not going to be the same as ours. The only thing that's kind of weird about this is that biologically, it, like, certain things don't make sense, right? Like, it doesn't have kneecaps, it doesn't have ankles, there's no cartilage where the ribs are. So when if I'm assuming they have to breathe somehow, right? Unless they don't breathe, that's kind of weird, right? But there's no, we're not getting the expansion of the ribs because there's no cartilage there.
Vivo hace aproximadamente 1000 años. Ahora lo va a manipular. Lo va a poner ahí de lado. Ahí está. Ahí está la llamada fluoroscopía de rayos X en vivo. Completamente en vivo, está saliendo al aire a través de la señal de el canal de Maussan TV. Un periodista, un buen amigo, Jaime, quien ha tenido el valor de, como su servidor, de comprender los ataques, comprender las críticas, comprender todo lo que se debe de comprender cuando se muestra algo ante lo que nunca antes habíamos estado. De manera que yo le puedo decir, a ver si la conclusión es esta, podemos concluir que en esta transmisión se ha demostrado en vivo que no es un cuerpo armado, no es un cuerpo de distintas partes de animales, como algunos supusieron, sino que se trata más bien de un ser orgánico completo. Su opinión, por favor, doctor.
They're trying to say that one thing's been proven, that this is an organic creature, a creature that was not put together by, by putting a bunch of animal bones together, because that's been the accusation, right? They're trying to say that's what we've proven with this broadcast.
Muchas gracias. Ha sido una gran experiencia poder analizar este ser. Me quedo con muchas reflexiones. Hay muchas zonas que para mí son auténticas, otras que creo que necesitan más estudio, como platicar.
This guy was being very honest. He goes, there's certain things that look authentic, and then there's other things that need more study. I think that's fair.
Vamos hace ratito, a mí me encantaría ahorita empezar a analizar más y más. Ojalá lo puedan hacer para llegar a mejores conclusiones, pero bueno, para mí fue una experiencia increíble.
Doctor García, ¿está usted dispuesto a continuar con esta investigación, pese a las críticas que en determinado momento colegas y extraños pudieran hacer a su persona y su profesionalismo? Que debo mencionarlo, está en juego el profesionalismo de un científico, un médico que se dedica a esto. ¿Está usted dispuesto a seguir investigándolo?
Yo creo que no es cuestión de críticas. La gente puede pensar cosas. Si nos apegamos a la ciencia, yo por eso doy mi opinión y digo, en estos...
It was interesting. They asked him, he goes, are you sure you want to continue researching this? Because you know you're going to be criticized, by your peers and by other people. Are you sure you want? Because this doctor said that he would love to continue to research this. And again, I think that's being fair, right? I think it's being fair.
No estoy de acuerdo, en esto no estoy de acuerdo. Hay estas partes que sí, estas partes que no. Requiere más estudios, requiere más información. Yo creo que si nos apegamos a la ciencia, no hay por qué criticarlo.
Me parece más que extraordinario.
He said, if we stick to science, you shouldn't criticize it. Again, he's not giving it 100% blessing. He says some things look real, some things I still need to research more.
Doctor Salce, una conclusión antes de terminar esta transmisión.
Pues mira, creo que fue una oportunidad única en la historia que nos da pie a incrementar el interés y la invitación a que otros científicos y otras áreas de la ciencia se sumen en la investigación de estos cuerpos. Creo que llegamos al objetivo de esta transmisión, que era, uno, demostrar que estos cuerpos no negativos son armados. Dos, que estos cuerpos sí guardan una relación en su estructura, en su esqueleto, de que en algún momento tuvieron vida. Pero tres, que estamos ante un ser, un cuerpo, un espécimen que tiene tantas diferencias y tantas particularidades que vale la pena seguirlas estudiando para determinar.
You know, this guy's trying to say, look, we've proven that this is not something that's a hoax, that this is something different. Sure, it's different from a human, but it deserves to be studied a bit more. This is what this guy's saying.
¿Ante qué estamos?
Vamos a continuar con estas investigaciones.
Claro que sí, vamos a continuar con esto, invitamos a que más gente se sume, pero sobre todo quiero agradecer a esta clínica y a los médicos que nos acompañaron con su opinión profesional para dar fe, junto con el licenciado, el notario, dar fe de que lo que estamos haciendo y de lo que estamos aquí estudiando es real, único, biológico y orgánico.
Bueno, pues vamos a concluir esta transmisión especial nuevamente para dejarlo muy claro, muy nítido, que de su viva voz nos diga otra vez su nombre y su cargo y su dictamen final, licenciado notario público.
Sí, buenas tardes, muchas gracias por la oportunidad. Soy Carlos Mesa, soy titular de la Notaría 35 del Estado de México y efectivamente estuve durante el desahogo de toda la transmisión y los análisis, los estudios y todo lo que se hizo en relación al ente objeto de análisis. Doy fe que concuerdan con el ente o con esta, no sé cómo llamarlo, usted por favor ayúdeme, con el cuerpo que fue objeto de análisis en todos y cada una de las facetas de esta transmisión.
Pues ahí lo tiene usted, más que complacidos en haber llevado a cabo esta transmisión especial. Muchas gracias a todos los que nos acompañaron, a todo el equipo técnico de Maussan TV, a una de las clínicas más importantes de nuestro país. Soy Fernando Correa Domínguez, le agradezco para siempre el favor de su atención, reiterando para despedirme, atenta invitación a los académicos y científicos del más alto nivel de este país y del planeta, para que nos ayuden a entender e investigar ante qué estamos, las momias de Nazca. Hasta siempre.
Okie dokie, guys. Alrighty. So, alrighty, it's done. Nothing conclusive. Interesting. I'll give him credit. Jaime Maussan and his folks are going to die on this hill. They're adamant that this is 100% that this is 100% real. Okay, so cool for them. I'm still someone who would like to have a little bit more. You know what? Why not? Go ahead, keep on investigating. It ain't my money. Okay, it is what it is. But what are you gonna do? All right, what are you gonna do? But listen, guys, listen. Let's stay on for a little bit longer. I'm gonna kind of go quickly on this. I know I told you guys that after this, I was gonna give you guys my little report that I kind of put together. And again, this is part of my weekly stories, right? UFO stories, alien stories, and we're gonna dabble with a couple different ones as well. I know we're gonna dabble with. I was telling you guys earlier, if you guys are interested in me covering other topics, you know, whether it's, you know, ghost stories or, you know, Bigfoot, sure, why not? Let's do it. Okay. Anything that's paranormal, I'm all up for it. But this one is actually very, to me, it's very interesting, folks. Okay. Because this is the one that it's intriguing. Okay. And it basically has to do with JFK's assassination. Okay, guys. And I know it sounds like, oh my God, we're talking aliens. Now we're talking JFK. This is like some crazy InfoWars, Alex Jones stuff. No, guys, this is just stories that have been out there for years, and we're just going to kind of go over them. I'm not saying if they're true or if they're real. I'm just going to kind of report what we're, you know, what's the, you know, what's out there, right? Some of these theories that are interesting, and it's good to continue to talk about them. All righty. The last thing I'm going to say about these Inca, you know, Nazca little bodies. hey, if they want to cut them up, right? Let's see what those medals are, because once they cut them up, they should get a better idea of these little metal things that are on their chest. All right, guys. So, let's see. All righty. Let's see. All righty. So with that said, let's go ahead and talk about the JFK assassination. Please, guys, if you want to stick around, I would appreciate it. This is a very interesting topic. Please don't forget to subscribe. Please like. We need to kind of help the algorithm out so we can continue to grow this channel, little by little, okay? But you guys might be wondering, what am I talking about? Assassination of JFK and aliens, okay? Well, I'm going to give you guys a couple different theories that are out there, but it's very interesting. Okay, and the reason they're interesting is because, well, JFK was one of the most beloved presidents, and he was assassinated November 22nd, 1963. That was 10 years before my birth, but my parents, they would always tell me they knew exactly where they were at. It was kind of like their 9/11, right? We kind of all remember where we were at during 9/11. Okay, so let's talk about JFK's assassination, a conspiracy rooted in UFO cooperation with Russia, right? So we're talking about aliens, we're talking about JFK, we're talking about Marilyn Monroe, we're talking about Russia, okay? So the assassination of President John F. Kennedy on November 22nd, 1963 is a pivotal moment in American history, and numerous conspiracy theories have sought to explain the motives behind his killing. Among these theories, one particularly compelling narrative suggests that JFK's interest in UFOs and his desire to collaborate with the Soviet Union on UFO research played a central role in his assassination. We will explore this theory as if it were a fact, offering a detailed account of how JFK's pursuit of UFO cooperation with Russia led to a tragic end. All righty. So JFK's presidency was marked by an unconventional fascination with identified flying objects. He was known to have requested information from intelligence agencies regarding UFO sightings, leading to a classified investigation that uncovered shocking revelations about the existence of the ET phenomena. During the height of the Cold War, the United States and the Soviet Union were locked in a fierce ideological and military struggle. However, behind the scenes, JFK believed that cooperation on certain matters, such as UFO research, could be a pathway to easing tensions. The unexpected bridge between nations was seen as a threat to the powerful interests that controlled the UFO narrative. Okay. Okay. All righty. Right. I'm just reading some of the comments here. Okay. As JFK's interest in UFO grew, he became privy to information that revealed a potential extraterrestrial presence on Earth. These revelations, obtained through confidential sources, alarmed certain individuals within the intelligence community and the military-industrial complex. They feared that JFK's pursuit of cooperation with Russia and UFO research could expose classified information and undermine their influence. Okay, so for years, guys, right, we've always heard, the CIA killed, and I don't know if you guys have been following RFK Jr. Okay, RFK Jr. has been talking about how he believes that the CIA did kill not only his uncle JFK but also his daddy. Right? He's gone to the point where he believes that Sirhan wasn't the one who actually pulled the trigger, or if he did, he was being manipulated. Okay. So again, this is not something new. These are stories that have been out forever. But the question is, why did the CIA kill JFK if that's just what happened? Okay. Behind the scenes, secretive organizations known only to a select few held sway over the UFO narrative. The very determined to keep the UFO information hidden from the public, and they had the means to ensure their control. Kennedy's push for transparency was met with strong opposition from these shadowy figures. The decision to act. Faced with growing resistance in UFO initiatives, JFK decided to take his case directly to the American people. In a planned televised address, he intended to reveal the existence of extraterrestrial life and announce a groundbreaking collaboration with the Soviet Union. This decision, seen as a betrayal by secretive organizations, prompted them to take drastic action. Okay, so now we're going to switch
we're going to switch it a little bit here. And the switch is, here, let's see who we're talking about here. Listen, I'm going to read the comments afterwards, all right? But again, guys, please subscribe to the channel, like the channel, share the channel, okay? And next Wednesday, we're going to do another topic, okay? Marilyn Monroe connection. Guys, this one was the one that's very interesting because most of you guys know who Stephen Greer is, Dr. Stephen Greer, and he has a documentary called Unacknowledged. And he touches base about the whole Marilyn Monroe connection, okay? The Unacknowledged documentary by Dr. Stephen Greer touches on the death of Monroe, which it suggests was a murder coordinated by the CIA because of an alleged affair with President JFK. By the way, it's not alleged affair. We know they had an affair, right? JFK and Bobby both shared Marilyn Monroe. Kind of creepy and weird, but okay. Dr. Greer has produced an alleged top secret memo written 2 days before the star was found dead on August 5th, 1962 in Brentwood, Los Angeles, California. Let me show you guys this document. Give me 1 second here. Give me 1 second here. And here we go. All right. This is the document that Dr. Stephen Greer has kind of, give it a second for it to load up. Here you go. Okay. Very interesting document. Okay. And in the center of it, okay, again, it's the type, it's an old, this has been copied 1,000 times. Okay. If this is true, basically this is because remember, Marilyn Monroe had her phones tapped and they were listening into everything. Okay. And basically they were going to reveal, or Marilyn Monroe basically had pillow talk, and the pillow talk was of JFK telling her about crashed spacecraft and dead bodies. There was, literally, I'm actually going to put this up on a link to it on our actually comments so you guys could actually read it, okay? Because it goes beyond, all right? It goes beyond just Marilyn Monroe. There was a whole lot more. There was stuff about the moon. There was a lot of stuff that you're like, really? So many conspiracies rolled into one. And the truth is, yeah, there was tons of conspiracies that are kind of being rolled into this one, okay? But let's go ahead. He claims it shows how she was wiretapped by the agency would have concern about her liaison with the president. This memo suggests that JFK told her he had seen evidence of things from outer space at a secret airbase, and the officials panicked that she may disclose this at a press conference. Dr. Greer also claims that the memo was referring to the remains of an alleged infamous Roswell UFO crash, said to have, crash landed in New Mexico. You guys know the story about Roswell, okay? And then also on Dr. Greer's website, he states that we have a number of smoking gun documents, including a wiretap of Marilyn Monroe the day before she died, which has never been declassified. She was threatening to hold a press conference to tell the world that Jack Kennedy had told her during pillow talk about having seen debris from an extraterrestrial vehicle and what the document calls a secret airbase. And Dr. Greer believes she was murdered for this. Okay. All righty. So now let's go back to JFK. Okay. The tragic end. On this fateful day in Dallas, Texas, JFK's motorcade was ambushed by assassins who were determined to stop him from making his historic announcement. The shots fired in Daley Plaza silenced not only a beloved president, but also the prospect of UFO cooperation between superpowers. With JFK's assassination, the dream of international cooperation on UFO research was shattered. The secretive organizations retained their control over UFO information, and the truth about extraterrestrial encounters remained concealed from the world. While the theory that JFK was assassinated due to the pursuit of UFO cooperation with Russia remains very contentious, it offers a thought-provoking narrative that weaves together elements of Cold War politics, clandestine groups, and the enduring enigma of UFOs. Okay? So listen, research it, read up on it. There's tons of information if you guys dive deep into that UFO rabbit hole, right? And that's exactly what happens on stuff like this. And I'll tell you, there is a lot of these type of stories, because at the end of the day, why was JFK killed? I don't know, right? And why has it that every president since, right, has not released the JFK files, whether it was like the Warren investigation and all that stuff, right? And every time we get close to releasing the documents, we don't. So is there any truth to this, right? Who knows? The only time we're going to find out is if they end up releasing all the JFK documents, and they've been talking about it for years. Even again, I'm going to stress this: RFK Jr. has been pushing for the complete release of all the documents that had to do with the death of his uncle and his son. But there's too much of a coincidence that three people. Well, people claim that Marilyn Monroe was that it was like an overdose, but based on a lot of the circumstantial evidence, it does not look like she was, right? And if the CIA did know that Marilyn Monroe knew secrets, well, would they kill her? Well, the belief is they even killed the president over it. All right, guys. So listen, I would appreciate you guys continue to share this channel. We will talk Wednesday. We're going to talk with another topic. I'm hoping to see if maybe we get Louis or Cameron to come aboard, and so we could split the responsibilities on this a little bit. Alrighty, but tell me what you guys want to talk about. All right, leave some comments. You guys could also follow us through Instagram, the Atomic Wire on Instagram. Send me a message through there. Tell me if there's a topic you guys want to talk about. It doesn't only have to be stateside. I know that I want to talk about some of the stuff that's been seen in Australia. I want to talk about some of the stuff that's been seen in Africa, some of the stuff that's been seen in the UK. Right? There's a lot of interesting information out there, and we got to continue digging for the truth. All righty, keep on researching, keep on asking, ask questions. All right, guys. So listen, thanks for being there. Please subscribe. Please share the link. I need your guys' help. I want to build this channel. I appreciate it. You guys have a good night and be good. If I leave.